we have to take our break. But yeah, it was just that occurred to me. Just like I completely lost that in the shuffle over the last couple of weeks.
Fair. All right, here we go. Now it's actually live and working.
Working is good.
One of the questions you had was who's the guy who you're going to about the bird?
Moon.
Yeah, I literally I just pulled up his art like I pulled up my notes on it right as you said that.
It's quite an artwork.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna show it on stream here in a sec. You guys looking for this fellow?
Asymmetry.
I like the purple eyes. With
That is very much not Broderick Quink.
The hair opposite the earrings on one side. Yeah, perfect asymmetry stuff.
Oh yeah, there's some Fae going on there.
All right, so we'll have
don't like them based on that.
a couple extra rules tonight.
There are other things I think we should do in town while we're here.
First of all, everyone's gonna start with 2 hero points because the holiday. Why not? Secondly,
That's concerning.
rolling natural 13s will either be good or bad. Might bump you up like a nat 20, might bump you down like a nat 1, depending on the scenario. We'll play for we'll see how it goes. There is the potential for magical surges to happen. And up to you guys, do you want to have the critical hit deck in play? It would be both for you guys and for enemies. And I would also point out that there are people in town who can use restoration, so the bad stuff wouldn't mean you are fucked forever.
I've had bad experiences with the critical hit deck, but I'm open to what the group wants to do.
It's the holidays. It's only for one session.
It's the holidays.
Let's do it.
Alright. I'm shuffling it now.
Until one of us loses a major body part.
I mean, I've already been down that road, but no power.
I know
this time.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna say I already took one of your arms in the last campaign.
I also want to point out, when I say we should do something, that's probably a bad sign.
I'm very outvoted, but I'm voting against this. I'm a saving throws person.
I think the vote is in favor now. 3-2.
Yeah.
Alright.
Godspeed to us.
Let's get a little spooky to start.
It's just one session, Beans.
So it's
I mean,
actual
since my role's
Halloween.
so good so far, James.
That's true. There's no actual Halloween on Galarian, but do a little narration like we did last year. The Day of Bones, Jester Cap, or Seven Veil. All holidays that come close but not quite capture the spirit of a holiday in a distant part of the material plane. Old Hallows Eve. Oh my yes, Halloween itself. When we last left off, night was encroaching as you all returned to town. Ghouls in the distance. One strange figure with a glint of shining glasses that you spotted from the ramparts of the North Gate. But it's always good to see a group of smug little adventurers on a shadowy night on the coastline of Old Varizia, particularly in the troubled and storied town of Sandpoint. I am Mist, the embodiment of the curling, whirling royals of fog and cloud that roll off the nearby moors. So far, your party has spoken with the dead, delved into crypts, uncovered secrets. But you are still being hunted, and the so-called dooms of Sandpoint still loom on the horizon. You guys have learned several important things. We'll get into a bit of an actual recap now. You guys have cleared out most of the first floor of the pit. A strange, deep well in the ground nearby, on a nearby mesa to Sandpoint. On the Devil's Plateau, the Devil's Platter. You thwarted the Thistletop goblins, or at least freed them from the control of a strange goblin priestess who had been worshipping the Sandpoint Devil. A strange horse-like cryptid that breathes smoke, has ripped up wings, and has been a perhaps tale of warning to children in Sandpoint not to go out after dark or disobey their parents. And yet, as you guys are learning, it seems like there may be some truth to the tale. She was worshipping it. Things seem to be giving her power. There are adventurers in town, one in particular, the daughter of a baker, whose whole party was allegedly killed by the Sandpoint Devil. But is this the next doom? That's hard to say. You did learn from Nualia that not all who have plagued Sandpoint lie still, and new enemies work in the shadows. She did not wish the 7 dooms upon Sandpoint, but one does wish them, and that one hearkens on red wings. She said, unless you can delve the pit in time, you will not escape his fire. You guys have pieces of what seems to be a clockwork bird, as well as other questions for the NPCs you met in town, like Brodert Quink, or this new person, Vorvashali Voon, a owner of a local curio shop who might know about the construct. You went in there looking for Rip Nugget, a perhaps undead goblin chief that had been slain by the previous Psyhedron heroes, and yet couldn't get through the door. As we get back to town, what are your guys' moves tonight? Or do you just get some rest right away?
I think I favor going to see the curio maker first, see what he makes of this. Might as well while we still have the evening.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
that's an option if it's still open.
I'd say, yeah, you guys could walk by that block. It seems to be open pretty late. This is a kind of a weird businessman out here on Rum Street. It's this number 44 here in the corner by the harbor. A store known as the Feathered Serpent. As you guys kind of push the door open, there's like a bell up above. You see the store has had some candles lit in it. There's some guttering torches, although it is starting to get dark outside. You see this red-haired, partly shaven, beautifully dressed fellow turn around. Oh, welcome to the Feathered Serpent, dear friends. Are you in search of curios? Perhaps items to tickle your fancy on such a fine eve?
Possibly, but we were more curious if you maybe knew anything about something we found.
Ooh. I'm always excited to look at what adventurers find. After all, people like you help keep my shelves stocked with your discoveries. You know, keep in mind that I'd be happy to offer you a discount if you could bring some things to stock my warehouse. Things to think about.
Sure, we'll keep that in mind. But, all right, go ahead and show him the stuff.
Okay. I don't know who's carrying it, but I guess we can work over the...
Yeah, you plop down like the
Two pieces
key
and
and that like bronze. Clearly, you've discovered now it's a clockwork songbird wing. You see, he gets out one of those like really, really big like jewelry inspecting lenses to examine it. He's like, oh my. Appears to be some sort of clockwork bird. Judging by the wing, I would imagine the whole object to be about the size of a blue jay. Where did you come across these particular items? Also, I think I may have gotten makeup in my eye because it burns a little. That's out of character.
Watch that out.
That's
yeah,
out
you
of
should
character.
go watch that out.
Nah, that's fine. That's fine. We just blink. We'll blink.
I would highly recommend going to watch that.
I got toilet paper here. We're good.
That is okay.
All right, we're good. We're fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. Where did you find these particular items, if I may inquire?
Within the upper levels of the pit.
Oh, you see, he kind of like leans forward, his chair creaks a little bit, clearly intrigued by this. You all have ventured into the pits over on Devil's Platter.
Yes.
Then perhaps it would be a matching piece for this. You see the guy rummages through some like lock boxes behind the counter and pulls out what appears to be a wingless, headless, legless clockwork bird about the size of a blue jay. You know, another adventurer claimed to have found this part somewhere near Devil's Platter, they said. It could have been in the pit, they were a little vague.
Hearing that, Lupin kind of waggles his eyebrows a bit. By any chance was this adventurer wearing a long red coat and a wide brim red hat?
She was. How did you know?
She and I have kind of, he kind of trails off for a moment. He says, kind of a thing going on.
Oh. I always love a bit of local gossip, but I was happy to tell her. I'll tell you the same thing. I suspect there are at least 5 more parts of the bird. The wings, the head, the tail, the feet, and the winding mechanism. It appears you have most of the wings and the winding mechanism. I'd be happy to pay 50 gold pieces for each part you bring.
Be of
Do you
interest.
have any idea what it will do when it's fully assembled?
Yes.
Oh my, no. I imagine some sort of enchantment effect. The body is obviously ensorcelled. I am not the most traditional caster, but I suspect it has various enchantment and abjurative auras on it. Why? Do you have some idea of how it might function?
Not particularly. To be totally honest.
Well,
It seemed to have some sort of
get out of here, dude.
reaction to a location in the pit. But besides that, we don't really know what the deal it is. It, you know, we just don't know. But the key anyway, the winding mechanism got all vibrating when we took it near a hidden door that we can't figure out how to open.
Are you sure there's a door there?
Yes.
It's like very obvious indignation on her face.
Speaking of, do you have any mechanisms for moving stone effectively out of a wall?
I imagine you could get a pickaxe from the blacksmith?
Thank you.
Of course. My pleasure. Now, is there anything else I can help? And are you willing to sell these 2 pieces to me? Oh.
Tarek looks at the group. I think we'd like to have an understanding of the whole, or do we want to have a greater understanding of the whole, or do we want to go ahead and proceed?
If we sell these to you and determine that we need the entirety of the bird at some point, would we have your word that we could buy back the item at no more than 25% markup.
Ooh, that's actually not a bad deal. Give me a diplomacy check. Pretty easy DC. I was literally thinking, I was like, what percentage markup am I going to counter with here? But you already hit me with one.
Look, my character has some sort of mercantile background.
It's true.
You know?
Oh my god.
25.
Absolutely a critical success. 25 sounds more than fair. You are a shrewd negotiator, Miss...
Solvina.
Let me give a roll. Okay, doesn't recognize it. Miss Solvina, it's a pleasure, and I hope I can accrue more of your patronage.
I look forward to exploring your shop when I have more time.
Oh, there's always something remarkable to be found at the Feathered Serpent, I assure you.
Wonderful.
Speaking of remarkable things, and Lupin kind of leads close to him. When was the last time you saw the Lady in Red?
The Lady in Red, oh, well, perhaps when she sold me that piece a couple weeks ago, I'd imagine? From my understanding, I think she may have... It sounds like if you found them there, perhaps she also delved into the pit?
Kind of rubs his chin, like, okay, just if you do see her again, just tell her I'm looking for her. Name's Lupin.
Ah, Lupin, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm always excited to make the acquaintance of adventurers and well, sometimes even ne'er-do-wells.
Alright. Well, thank you for your help with our endeavors. And you see him turn around, and you notice he's got a little spring in his step, and since he's in kitsune form right now, he's trying to hide it, but you notice his tail just like wagging back and forth very excitedly.
As you guys ting ting ting, doorbell rings again as you head out.
Lupin,
Yes, mon ami.
you seem the sort who maybe has some less than savory connection, so to speak, potentially.
As you say that, you see him put a hand over his chest, like, are you, why, lady, are you insinuating that I might have some criminal underworld connections?
I'm insinuating that you might know some people who might be able to have mutually beneficial dealings with me.
Oh.
Well, that might be the possibility, but if I were the sort to have such connections, these sorts tend to be very careful about who they associate with.
Well, if you happen to run into any of them, if you could let them know that there is someone who is interested in, and I'm just gonna lean in and whisper to you, playing a bit of a practical joke on the sheriff.
You do see him grin wide, and you see his tail just starts wagging even faster. So,
I would appreciate it.
Well, maybe if we find the lady in red, maybe she might be able to help us out. That is part of the reason I've been looking for her.
Well, then I'll be sure to keep an eye out.
All right. You guys have a lot of other leads. Bert Quink, talking with Arika Aberton. Lots of possible options, or if you're ready to hit the hay for the night.
I think we should maybe ask Abstelar what he knows about the Desna knife. Or if he knows of it.
Yeah, because I think of the lot of us, Lupin was the one who had, I think, the most utility for that kind of weapon.
I think so.
Mhm.
I'm not saying we should give it to him. Maybe we should do that later. I'm not sure. But if he knows some history of the item, he might have some history that would be beneficial to our delve into the pit.
Reasonable.
All right. You guys had an Absalor then?
Suppose so.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. You guys make your way up to number 1, the cathedral. I think you guys are pretty much regulars at this point. You're brought quickly to Absalar Xantus. My friends, how can I help you this evening?
We went through the first depths of the pit. Found an item of interest that we thought you may have some notion of the history on.
I'm not sure what expertise I'd have in the pit, but sure, I would be interested in examining whatever. I mean, if it's a magic item, I know that Voon at the Feathered Serpent has an almost uncanny ability to identify magic items.
We believe this would be more in your wheelhouse, so to speak.
He kind of frowns, but I'll admit you've piqued my interest. What do you need me to look at?
Lupin, if you would.
Oh, yes, of course. And he'll reach into uh, his jacket and pull out the monarch and lay it down very gingerly on the table.
You see his eyes go wide, like slowly, almost like afraid that it'll disintegrate in his hands. Even though you guys know that's ridiculous. It's a relic. It's not gonna be broken apart by damn near anything.
You
Where did
you
you
okay
get
there,
this?
Padre?
Where
Oh.
you found this in the pit?
Yes, we did.
In a pool of water.
Well, in a pool of the clearest. There was something magical about that place. On the body of a soldier.
Was the water? Did the water remain magical once the knife was removed? You guys would know that it looked normal after that.
It did not.
Perhaps it infused the underground spring. This is it's known as Monarch. Star knife that heralds back to, it was wielded by a famed priest of a particular Desnan sect. They were known as the Order of the Starless Knight. Rather unusual name, as you might imagine, for the Song of Spheres, a Starless Knight, but they were utterly devoted to protecting Galarian from the horrors that could be found in the dark. I've heard it was forged from the most pure silver. And you see as you kind of like, as you guys are, it sits there, it's almost glowing like a candle, like a soft luminescence. The butterflies. You see, like, rubs his finger on the monarch butterflies, like, etched in flight on the blade. This is a very potent relic. In and of itself, a masterfully crafted weapon. It already has base effects. You see, he's like, "Do you mind if I use it?"
Lupin will just sort of like hold his hand up, like, by all means, Padre.
You see, he picks it up, flicks his wrist back, and almost like a like forehand frisbee throw, whirs it through the outside courtyard, where it thunks into a tree. So he holds out the other hand, and it reappears in a flash of silver in that hand.
Lupin will let out a whistle, say like, "Oof, that's a nice trick."
It was enchanted, so even in the most dire of circumstances, to always return to the wielder.
How much damage did it do to the tree again?
Give me
Or was it
a
just
perception check. See like what did that look like when it hit the tree? You would know that it looks like it dealt base star knife damage +1.
Okay. I'll go. That's nothing, and I'll vicious swing the tree.
You almost chop the tree down. He's like, "That don't chop our trees down."
It's a 52 chop it down.
It mostly cuts through. He's like, "Stop. These are old trees. I'll get a druid to look at it later."
You'll have to forgive our friend Roland. He doesn't seem to understand the fact that sometimes finesse is better than size.
Abstalom. What more do you know about the Order of the Starless Night and when the monarch, well, presumably went missing? I think that might give us some insight into the Seven Dooms if they are indeed down in the pit, and so is the Star Knife.
I know that at their heart, they battled against the Dark Tapestry. Are you familiar? If it wants to be either a religion or an occultism check.
Did we ever get our level up officially?
Technically not yet. We haven't.
Yeah, but I said you could like get it for next session. You know, so if you, whatever the skill is fine.
I am now trained it.
5 on the die.
Oh my god, Lupin and Great Gagini.
Do religion and occultism give us different things?
Slightly.
Alright, I'm gonna use a hero point then.
Okay. I think Lupin and Great Gagini are like, wow, why would they fight against the tapestry? Oh my god.
What are these dice?
That's crazy. That 20, not 1, not 1, not 20. Holy shit. Okay. The Dark Tapestry. Not a lot is known about this. This is essentially the collective essence between the stars in the night sky. The void itself. Now, you guys, in Starfighters know it is a void of space. It's normal. It's natural. To the inhabitants of Galarian, some of them believe that it is the location of true madness. A realm so alien that even the gods struggle to comprehend it, and any threat that would emerge from it could very well be a threat to the known universe itself.
You said it's called the what tapestry?
The Dark Tapestry. In terms of a religious angle on that at 20, I think you would know that the Dark Tapestry births the kind of gods known as the Outer Gods. These are things that are like the Elder mythos, great old ones, Cthulhu, things like that. Just truly outworld abominations. Certainly these are deities that are hardly ever worshipped for obvious reason. The very presence of a cult for them could spell doom for the planet. But it seems like the sect of like the Desnan faith here were dead set on battling them.
Well, then I suppose it seems that they must have thought that something quite bad was down in that pit.
As you think about that from the religious angle there, Tarek, coming at it from the more like occult side, which is admittedly a little hard to differentiate when it comes to great old ones, it occurs to you that while they are ostensibly gods and can be worshipped and granted power by as such, typically this is such an esoteric occult subject matter that most people don't even know about it, for one, and for two, it takes a lot for them to even care about Galarian. Like, this is an occult threat, but it's an occult threat that is, by and large, uncaring of the current situation. Like, the current plan.
Okay.
And I think both of you on a nat 20 would know that there are also just like evil creatures that can come from that realm, the Dark Tapestry, and those can be summoned. And on a nat 20, I think you would know that some of them indeed have been used by rune lords in the past. Their battle was, from what I understand, the most part successful. The sect of the Order of the Starless Night has largely disappeared in modern day, but I'd always wondered what happened to their champion.
Well, it seems we found some notion of it. We'll be heading back down into the pit eventually. It's worth noting that if the previous inhabitants of these lands had dealings or attempts to deal with such creatures, we need to walk very carefully.
He would also ask, like, have you found any mention of gods or deities in your travels so far? I can't imagine a relic like this. I have trouble believing such a thing would resurface, not for a particular purpose.
Tarek frowns. Closest we've found thus far is the Devil of Sandpoint, residing supposedly at the bottom of the pit.
I'd say you guys could also
Found
make
with
a religion check on that too.
I am not
The
trained on that one.
goblins seem to be worshipping the Devil of Sandpoint.
And gaining power from.
You guys had heard a few different names of various outer beings, one of which was Azathoth. On these higher rolls, and Sylvina Lupin on that higher religion check, Azathoth, easy to mistake as like a demon lord. He is more than that. Some people think he is a demon. Some think he's even a daemon from the abyss. But it kind of clicks together as you guys are thinking about this. He honestly sounds a little bit more like an outer god. Inscrutable, powerful. And I think on the 26 and 25 clearing the DC here, you guys would know that one of his nom de guerres is the formless chaos that lies beyond the stars. Also, Roland, on that 13 on the dice, because I am checking, I think you feel a tug in your gut as you think back to those moments in which you grabbed the blade, the monarch, and thought about like the protective powers inside of it.
Sorry, was that directed at me? I accidentally unplugged my.
Yeah,
headset
yeah.
for a
On the
moment.
13, I was saying I think you have this like pang in your gut, almost painful, as this makes you think about those moments where you picked what kind of protection you felt from the monarch.
Something happened.
You just get this like sense of the like potential protection this could offer you guys.
The knife itself.
The knife itself, yeah, as like a
Okay.
bulwark against these outer monsters.
Okay. Should probably just hang on to it then.
He'll also tell you, he's first of all, he like passes it back to you guys. Like, if this showed itself to you after hundreds of years, I think you should have it. But this is what's known as a relic. Divine relics offer many gifts. The more closely tied to the weapon you are, or indeed sometimes the more tasks you do that are deemed important enough by the gods, you can unlock minor gifts, major gifts, and for such potent relics as these, a grand gift.
Are there any bastard sword relics by chance?
He shrugs, like, presumably somewhere.
While we go further into the pit as we continue our investigation and descent, if you would maybe be able to try and do some more research into the order and maybe any potential connections they might have to Azathoth, that would be greatly appreciated.
I'll admit I haven't studied much about Azathoth, but I will set the scribes on it and see what we can do.
That is greatly appreciated.
Well, I pray that this is a good sign and that we can fulfill the protection of this town and the wishes of Nualia.
Lupin will nod, and he'll take the monarch and stash it back in his coat and say, "Well, I will say this: if the gods do feel nice enough to provide me with such generosity, well, the orphanage has been good to me, so I would not mind paying it forward."
He bows low again. Sandpoint has benefited from many kind heroes over the years. It's an honor to meet some again.
Lupin thinks about saying something, but then thinks better of it. What he would want to say is like, "Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves."
All right. As you guys, you kind of put the knife away, talking to Father Xantus, he does briefly, he's like, while you're here, do you have a moment to talk about there have been some rumors going around town about our ritual. Do you have a moment to talk about it?
Of course.
Sure. What kind of rumors we're talking about?
I mean, of
Tarek doesn't say
course,
anything, but his eyes just narrow.
news of us contacting Nawalia's spirit spread. I expected as much, but the rumors grow in power throughout the town, and it seems as though there is purposeful misinformation being spread amongst them.
I take it you don't. I take it you don't relate well with the Scarnettis.
I do not, but things are beginning to escalate beyond just the power of the church. He pulls out a letter. You see, it's like stamped with the sigil of the local mayor. Mayor Deverin is going to be holding an emergency meeting of the town council tomorrow evening around sunset to speak of the rumors. I would hope you'd accompany me to the meeting and help provide context and support.
Yeah, I think we should be able to do that. By the
Very
way,
well.
Lupin, do you know if they're doing yarning at the Hagfish tonight?
I believe so. I mean, I was planning on heading there, seeing if. Well, I think, you know, you'd. I'm sure you'd probably figure it out right now. You remember the other night when I was sort of like staring at the door?
Yes, you're hung up on one person. It's very. Yes. Well,
Well, that the lady in red is who I was hoping to see. So maybe I'll be more lucky tonight.
I was thinking that if you go and there is yarning and you're able to participate, maybe you could spin a story about the benefits of appeasing a malevolent ghost in the next town over.
You know, I like the way you're thinking. Yeah.
Some counter propaganda, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
All right.
So, I
So
think if I am, I'm probably gonna have to change up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So it seems like at least
Change the
you guys are
story.
headed to the Hagfish tonight, then, the two of you.
Well,
Well, if Lupin can do that, then I have other things that I can try and get done tonight that I'm more concerned about. But if
well,
Lupin wants me to go as well, I can do that.
All right. So
uh,
up to you,
well,
Lupin.
it's up to you. He really likes your idea that he's going to take as as his own idea. So if you want to come along, that's cool. Uh, you and anyone else in the party certainly welcome.
I think I have other things I'm more interested in investigating tonight.
All right. So it sounds like then, Lupin, you're headed to the Hagfish near the docks.
Yep. I would say as I'm going along, since he's aware that, and he's been told that, like, you know, it's like, tail twitching. He can't really control it, so not want to give the game away. He'll snap his fingers and change into elf form.
All right.
All right.
Little glimmer of that magic as you shift forms. So you're going there. Where are you going, Sylvina?
I want to try and get some information.
Okay, Sylvina's going to try to get some information. What's Tarek doing?
I'm not sure. Let me think about that. If
Okay.
you want to go to the others.
Great Gangini. Any ideas?
Yes. The Great Kagini is like, all right, this is the headspace I'm in. He's kind of just like a cocky teenager.
Sure.
And so far, he's had like demons jump on him, and now there's like some elder god that they're dealing with. He's really stressed out. I think he's gonna chill, like in the watchtower ruins, and like kind of just solo drink.
All right, you head to the ruins of the old light, out near Junk Beach. Bottle of liquor to start drinking.
Get
What
red
is
wine drunk.
Roland doing?
It's the town hall meeting is tomorrow, not tonight, right?
Tomorrow night, yeah. Tomorrow at sunset.
Hey, Tarek, you want to go intimidate the Scarnettis? Just fuck with them.
Wait.
Ooh.
Or
don't
at
think
least
it's-
I would recommend waiting.
I
But
don't
it's
think
up
it's
to you all.
best. I don't think it's best to provoke them yet. I suspect they're behind this, but
I mean, we don't have to like get into any trouble. We can just sort of like
the more
follow
we,
them around, glare at them, let them know if they pull anything,
I
we'll
mean,
kill them.
he's holed up.
Just standing
You're-
there, menacingly.
Like stand on the edge of the property, just staring at the property. See what he does. Originally, I was just thinking of go like if there's a family tree on the property, go cut it down.
Tarek extremely narrows his eyes and looking at him on that one.
As are you guys still deciding this in the cathedral, or are you guys like walking out of the cathedral while you're?
We can.
deciding?
I think we can walk out.
Okay.
Yeah.
As that's happening, give me a perception, just Tarek. I think you notice the breeze shift ever so slightly, Tarek, and just a much more potent smell of salt water from the local harbor drifts towards you. As you get this like almost pinpoint sense of like, oh, that wind came from where like the bay meets the Tarandarok River near Sandpoint Bridge. I think you
I think
glance
he'll
at your
break-
friends. It seems like only you noticed that.
He'll say, "I'll wait for the Scarnades for now. I have a hunch of my own to follow." And then he'll start moving towards towards the Sandpoint Bridge, towards the mouth of the river.
Right.
Sorry, you think they're gonna come after us, or what do you think's happening?
I don't know.
I guess I'll just follow you for now.
Up to you, Tar. Are you trying to
If
go
there's-
alone, or do you want backup?
If you want to come along, he wouldn't turn back up away.
Okay.
I smell something on the breeze. Something unusual.
All right. You
And
guys
he doesn't run, but I think he starts kind of walking more purposefully.
yeah, lengthening that like large stride that he has. Okay, you guys kind of fade out into the early evening of Sandpoint, going to various locations. Just gonna roll that for myself. All right. First of all, the Great Gangini, you are uninterrupted as you go through the night. As you get drunk
Yeah.
there, then go back to wherever you're sleeping. Fortune seems to have favored the drunk teen this evening.
All right.
Going to Lupin. You get to the Hagfish, again by the docks down there, and they are indeed doing a yarning competition. I would say either probably like a bluff check or whatever requisite skill you have you think you'd use for storytelling.
I'd say probably like your deception would probably be here because that's probably what I've got my strongest bonus in.
All right. So you spend the evening. You don't win the pot or anything, but you do try to spread. I imagine you're trying to spread what Sylvina was talking about.
Yeah, I imagine he talks about how nearby town that there's it's like this creepy cult of dark hooded figures summoning from dimension of darkness, simply called the Dark Place, heralding the coming of their savior, a man who knows only as Mr. Scratch.
You spread these rumors at the tavern. Pretty successfully. You didn't win the contest, but people were listening to the story. It got a big audience, which was the main point. Sylvina, where are you looking for information? Because so right now we got like Gangini is over here. Let me scroll up on the map so the stream can see. Gangini's there. Lupin's down there. Are Tarek and Roland are headed down this way by the bridge and the river. Where are you headed in the city right now? Or the town, I should say.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm trying to figure out, and then maybe
Sure.
you can tell me where the best place to go based on
it.
that is. I'm trying to figure out 3 things, but 2 things primarily.
Okay.
One is where these exaggerated rumors came from.
Okay.
That's the primary focus.
Okay, looking for the rumor
The secondary focus is, have Scarnetti-associated merchants been selling new items, maybe rock salt or things associated with protection from evil spirits?
Okay, and what was the third thing?
And then the third thing is, I just want to try and see if while I'm ambling about, I can remember what sort of merchants I think would be good to replace Alistair for the goods he sells to the cathedral. But the last one's the most minor of the 3. That's less the focus. That's just something I wanted to do while I'm in town.
I would say you're probably making a sweep of some of the various business locales, like the Glass House, the various guild halls.
Okay.
And I think while you're doing that, and that's kind of like a large sweep of like the 20s area, kind of over here near Bishop Street, give me a diplomacy check to gather information then.
All right. Just so you know, the gather information exploration activity takes me half as long for.
Oh, interesting. Reasons. Okay, dope.
Sadly, I'm not a master in diplomacy, so I don't get to turn critical failures into failures, but.
Oh yeah.
But it does take me half as long.
Gotcha.
17. Do you guys think I should use my other hero point to try and reroll that? It was a 7 on the die.
It's in that weird spot of like you're probably gonna get
Yeah.
better, but you could easily make it worse.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I think it's worth keeping the hero point. I think you'll need it for other
All right.
things.
I'll stick with the 17 then. It's not great, but
Neither
Yeah.
is it terrible.
I think you do discover that the Scarnettis are responsible for this. Probably more specifically Charn Scarnetti.
okay.
Unsurprising.
In terms
Is that
of
the one I-
trying to
Yep.
organize like a better way to get supplies for the cathedral, one of the better people to talk to would probably be Jasper Korvoski. He is a like local paladin and member of the Mercantile League. Oversees a lot of its
Okay.
day-to-day business, both like what goes where and security.
All right. And then, do I have any sense of if the Scarnettis are taking advantage of the rumors they're spreading to sell more?
I don't think you hear anything about that. Whether that is because they are and you didn't do well enough, or because there isn't any, I think you're not quite sure.
Cool.
As you're making your way out of Bishop Street, give me a perception check.
Oh dear, I'm not very good at this. 7 on the die again.
You see a gleam of like something reflecting off glass coming from the alleyway next to you. And kind of like a raspy voice that's just like, do you have a minute? You kind of peer in. It's very dark in this alleyway right now. Up to you if you want to like light that up.
I'm gonna put an internal torch up for myself.
Okay. As the light kind of spreads out into the alleyway, you see like the edge, just where bright becomes dim light. You see a gray-skinned figure with glasses. Turns towards you, pointed teeth. I'd appreciate you putting that light out. We might get the wrong kind of attention. Come.
Do I know any of the merchants around me? Like, who runs any building around
like just
me?
any of the stores nearby?
Yes.
Or like
do I know the name of any of them?
Ooh, probably. I would say you probably know a couple of them. Give me a Are you gonna try to call out for somebody?
No, I just want to check if I know that. Oh wait, no. I've already hit 4th level. Never mind.
Okay.
Is the town how big is the town in terms of a mile?
In terms of a mile?
Yeah.
Oh god, let me zoom out. I think the ruler is set to the proper distance.
It's not huge.
Okay, so then
if you see that
all
arrow,
of you all
it's
are
like
easily within a mile of me.
Yeah, it's like 2,500 feet.
Okay.
At like the longest point.
As long as they're all within a mile of me, so I'll just put it out and I'll follow him.
All right. He takes a rather meandering route, and you see he kind of like goes through a couple alleys, opens these old rusted gates that like someone would have to know these alleys extremely well to do this, and like clearly these are almost forgotten parts in a small town. And you pretty quickly realize he's leading you to the boneyard by the cathedral.
Okay.
As you find a quiet...
Need something in...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, No, I'll just wait. I'll wait.
He finds like a quiet corner of the boneyard. I mean, he hasn't attacked or anything yet. I'll also think if you want to give me a religion check on him, you may.
I'm good at that one.
Very, very positive. This is not just a ghoul. This is a ghast. kind of like an advanced ghoul that can create more ghouls and command them. They're also far harder to kill than a regular ghoul.
I think I'm gonna, in that case, stop, a distance and say, I'm not sure how wise it would be of me to follow a gas deep into the boneyard.
He's like this wheezing, coughing laugh. Like his vocal cords aren't meant to do that anymore. Very well. We are near enough. Near enough, I assume, to call for your help, and for me to call for mine. My name is Wolgar Rabs. He extends this hand to you, and you get the sense that you're going to have to make a fortitude save if you get close enough to shake his hand. Like, you've already been keeping a bit back from him because he smells fucking terrible. You'd have to make the save if you shook his hand.
Do I think he would take it personally if I didn't?
I say you give me a perception check as a sense motive. Like, I feel he's a little hard to read.
Terrible.
This is a creepy undead with glasses on and like a human finger necklace. He's not someone you've been trained to read in your business dealings. So I'd say it's up to you, up to your best judgment.
I'll go and shake his hand.
Give me a fortitude save.
29.
You kind of like feel the gorge rise in your throat, but you like swallow and push it back down as you shake. And as you like he doesn't squeeze your hand hard, like nothing threatening about this, but just the proximity of his hand. As he draws it away, one, you can tell he is very strong and was holding back there. And two, that his claws are like razor sharp.
All right.
As I say, I am Wolgar Rabs. It's my understanding that you have been acquainted with a variety of ghouls in the area. Is this so?
I have encountered some. I had business with the ghost, and that led me to a similar encounter.
The ones you dealt with were hard for me to work with. They had other allegiances. But I must impress upon you and your friends that my ghouls and I were not unreasonable. We've lived below Sandpoint without bothering anyone for more years than I think you'd care to know. As he says this, he kind of like points to some of the nearby, like, I imagine you guys probably stopped like on the roads over here. And he's like pointing up at the like, because he didn't want to get too close, like pointing up at the various mausoleums up here. Like, you saw some of the work we had done in shoring up parts of our tunnels. We do this to prevent subsidence. Leave the topsoil alone, as it were. It would bring needless attention on ourselves if there was a sinkhole. As those
by the
fool
way, Ben,
goblins did. Yes.
Is Callistria particularly anti-undead or no?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure.
I'll double check, but I don't remember her having any of those as like any sort of anathema to her worship.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. I don't think it is, but I figured I should check just to be sure to see if.
I'm pretty sure there are like canonical, like very typical Callistrian vampires in canon.
That does not surprise me.
So like I think she's probably chill with it.
Yeah, just make sure she's chill with this, because if she wasn't, then I might feel the need to report it to Abstellar. But if she's chill with it, then I don't.
Seems chill.
Yeah.
Look,
That's understandable.
good. I'm glad you agree. I would like to make a proposition. I will continue to leave the top side alone, as will my pack. I will meet any attempts by goblin ghouls to move into this region with much violence. In return, don't seek us out. Let us be. The status quo has worked and no one's been harmed.
I would like to make a few questions that I might ask as stipulations. If you would be amenable to me asking that.
Questions would be amenable, although I must insist that you and your friends sign a contract at the end of this.
I cannot make this decision, obviously, by myself. I hope you understand.
Of course.
And I would have to have their opinion too.
But I hope that you can advocate for its benefits.
I would like to say as well that if we were to make this deal, we would agree not to seek you out with the intent of violence. But if perhaps we believe that you could provide us information, we might be allowed to peaceably meet.
Interesting. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
And the last thing I will say is, and I would like to kind of try and almost play up the infernal side of my heritage and say, I will read any contract very carefully.
Are you intending it to be intimidating with that infernal?
I don't want it to be intimidating. I want it to be clear that, like, I know my contracts, and he shouldn't try and slip anything by me.
I would say give me a diplomacy check then on this like revised deal.
20.
That's a success. It is also, in this case, because you are so willing to deal with the spooky, I'm going to use that 13 to make it a critical success.
All right.
In the spirit of Old Hallows Eve, I will acquiesce to your terms. And if it will help persuade your friends, I would offer a tithe from my kingdom to you all. Gifts for you to sign and let us live our lives.
I will bring them your proposition.
You see he pulls out a bag. And he's like, these are yours upon returning the signed contract. He presents some items, which he will detail to you. Minor sturdy shield of magical make, a wand of rave enfeeblement, and something that might benefit you judging from that torch you needed earlier. A pair of goggles of night.
Well, I think these would be quite appealing to my friends. I will bring them your deal, and I hope that I can persuade them to come to a mutually beneficial agreement. And I hope that you are able to take all the vengeance you desire against the goblin.
I plan to. He passes you the contract. It's usually written on leather, not unheard of. You know, not as common as like vellum or parchment, but fine enough.
Sure.
Let's give me a perception check on it.
Can I do a legal lore check on it?
Sure. They would reveal different things, but yes.
Can I do both?
Yeah.
Oh, 6.
I think on over a 15 legally, it seems pretty much what you guys have agreed to. He added like a little clause at the bottom when you revised things, but he seems to be like shockingly intelligent in this field. Like he added that addendum real quick, and it seems like good and legally binding. On a perception check, something about this strip of leather is a little gross, and you don't put your finger on it first, and you realize on the back side of it is some sort of stretched out, perhaps mar in the leather, like a discoloration. And then you start to realize that it kind of looks like a stretched out anchor and ship's wheel, like a tattoo that a sailor would have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's human leather.
That is what it seems like.
Alright.
You.
I will...
Out of character, you're not selling this to Roland.
I'm gonna say I will bring them the contract. And I hope that they will sign. If they do, where should I deliver it to you?
Return to me at the northernmost mausoleum in the boneyard.
Very well.
I will be there tomorrow, midnight.
Alright. There's a meeting that we must attend in town at, you said it was 7, Ben?
Like sunset.
Okay, at sunset?
It's plenty of time. Like, the meeting would presumably be done hours before.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Alright. I hope to bring back good news.
I hope so as well. Good luck out there. You see, he kind of like approaches the cliff near you guys, like that little ledge, and just starts to burrow into it.
Okay.
Alright, we cut away from that to the quiet, like, crickets and flowing, bubbling water near the Sandpoint Bridge with Roland and Tarek. As you guys approach the riverbank, give me a perception check.
You may want to re-roll yours.
Yeah, it's a 4 on the die. Better.
Alright. As the river bubbles over the rocks, Tarek, you look out and you see a leaf. It's getting dark, but your ability to focus on this leaf on the tree on the opposite bank is almost otherworldly. It stands out in sharp relief. And as you look at it, you see a small drop of what, unclear how you would even know this, but seawater seems to drip off the tip of it. You begin to feel, rather than, no way of really knowing, but feel the dualistic nature of Gazre in this moment. What do? You sense that things are like still, waiting for you to make a move.
I'll start walking towards it.
You wade into the river, pretty shallow at this time of night. The tides have already gone. As you approach, your head begins to throb, and you see your vision begin to fade, begin to go black. Roland, you see him stagger in the river, but not fall. Tarek, you see once again a room that you all have spent some time in more than once. That focus chamber by the Hellstorm Flume, with all the red stones and Sihedron in the middle. You see a leaf blow across the central stone. And more than anything, you are reminded of the ever-changing nature of Gazre. The mightiest stones, buildings, even landmarks, they can be changed by time. They can be altered to use differently. Even as you see this moment, it seems to go almost painfully slowly for you as you have time to ruminate on it. But you snap out of it, you kind of fall to your hands and knees. Not enough to go under, you're in the shallows at this point, in the water. But with the sense that there is things that can be done to change what the rune lords wrought in that chamber.
Do I have any inkling of what that might be, or is that just an idea that we may be able to use it to some other purpose?
I think in this moment you could make either arcana, nature, occultism, or religion.
Nature it is. I'm gonna burn my second hero.
Hell yeah.
Bam!
Beautiful. Magic sometimes is just energy, despite how we break it down into primal and arcane and all of that. This is something you could do, Tarek, with your abilities in nature, with your abilities in any form of magic, really, but the Hellstorm focus is just that. It's an energy focus. Yes, it was used to direct energies toward the old light. Evocation, conjuration. Two sides of the same coin. You could change the focus to channel a different form of magic from just the evocative destruction that it used to wreak. As to how that would benefit you in your current journey, you can't really say. But you know that this is certainly possible. And you get a feeling that perhaps it is necessary.
Okay. I think as the vision concludes, Tarek kind of snaps to. And I take it the leaf and the seawater is gone.
Gone. Who could say if it was there at all to begin with?
I'll wade back to shore.
Roland, to you, this episode looks like he just kind of stumbled and almost like when you stand up with not enough iron, like passed out for a second. But it did not last as long as he experienced it to last.
I would have been ready for like a rope to lasso him in.
You like kind of are standing there ready for that eventuality when you see him come back to the shore. Do you say anything?
Nah.
Okay. We need to talk with some of the other folks who know some of the matters of the arcane. There's something. That room we were in, that hellstorm. There's something we can do to bend it to make it work for us, perhaps in the times ahead against these dooms. We need to examine it more carefully. I saw something. And I'll need to speak with the Sylvina and with our young friend.
All right. I think with that, you guys finish up your various missions for the night, go to your different places of rest, get that full level up, even though you've already been using it.
Ben was frantically putting back, because I'd put new spells in, I was frantically putting my old ones back in since we
Sorry,
had, I didn't know if that was going to be I
my
thought that
guess
might
was
be a
that you
combat
guys were
encounter.
gonna just go like straight to bed, but you wanted to look at more than I thought. All right. Perfect. Next morning rolls around. What are you guys doing with this day? I mean, you have to be at the town hall meeting later tonight, and perhaps somewhere in the evening. As you guys reconvene in the morning, where do you guys reconvene, do you think?
Well, I imagine Lupin probably is like the last one to show up because he's probably uh uh feeling kind of hungover because it's like he's probably thinking like, ugh, where is she? Does she like not like me anymore? Is she avoiding me?
Hard to say.
Right.
We'll say, I mean, eventually maybe you guys meet up at the Rusty Dragon or somewhere to eat.
Yeah, I think we would do that. I think if we found a spot like that where we would normally convene, I think Tarek would very quickly seek out Gangini and Sylvina.
All right. Yeah, we'll say the Rusty Dragon. One of the more famous buildings in Sandpoint. You guys head over to number 37 over here.
Yeah. Lupin will meet you and you'll see him in elf form. His hair is looking a bit frazzled and his eyes kind of bloodshot. And to try to cure his hangover, he takes out a cigarette and just starts puffing at it.
Sylvina, do you broach the contract?
I think I'm just gonna say, Tarek, I think you've been staying on the beach, yes?
Typically, yes.
When we get the chance, I think that we should all go and check out where you've been staying. I think it would do us some good for a walk on the beach and just to make sure you're in a safe location.
Tarek chuckles. I appreciate the concern. It hasn't been too much of an issue. And I've made sure that I've learned a few things staying in the wilds. If somebody tries to approach me or vandalize where I've been staying, they may have a minor problem or two.
It's just such a secluded and isolated place where I think it is unlikely for other people to be there that I worry, and I think that we should all go. And I'm like trying to insinuate I want to talk with you all where other people aren't without directly stating that.
Oh, I'm gonna completely miss that. Isn't the point of you being on the beach to avoid people, Tarek? I thought you just liked being in nature and not around the hustle and bustle.
It's a bit of both. These places are not. But who am I to complain? It'd be good to have less time spent among the noise, the better. And I think Tarek would get like kind of stereotypically like kind of what we had on the first session. How like he would grab like a heaping plate of like breakfast meat and stuff like sausage links and things like that.
Hell yeah.
And toss the fare to the thing and say, "If I won't, I came here to seek you all out. If I won't turn down a secluded morning."
That sounds lovely.
There is one thing I wonder. Lupin speaks up after getting some protein and finally getting over his hangover. It's like, wouldn't that be uncomfortable? I mean, wouldn't you get sand in some unmentionable places?
Tarek chuckles. It's not the worst
Well,
place I've slept.
you'll get to see for yourself when we go and visit.
All right, you guys head over to the beach.
I will lead them past where I've left a couple of the. I didn't put any spikes or anything in the bottom, but set up a couple of pitfall traps in case somebody tried to vandalize my little lean-to or anything like that while I was out. Because I think after seeing Charn Scarnetti try to raise a mob, I think him being a very obvious and somewhat obviously intimidating looking outsider, I think he has some concerns that some of the more stupid townsfolk, especially after a couple drinks, might try to give him some trouble.
All right.
What languages do you all speak?
Common and Elven.
I have those and Draconic.
Alman, Elvish, Chthonian.
Common, Orcish, Goblin, and the Druidic language, which is not something I'm
Right.
teaching anybody.
I think I will say what I'm going to say in Elven, and then I'll switch it over to Orcish and repeat it for Tarek. And I'll just like make a quick check to make sure there's no one else around then before I go into an explanation.
If I see her looking
Um,
around, I'll do the same.
As you guys look around, as you're crunching down the beach, you see there is someone sitting, having disarmed your traps there.
Eyes immediately narrow.
Lupin, you see a familiar red hat, red coat.
It's like at first seeing the was it traps disarmed, Lupin would like reach for his gun holster, but then seeing Reddy immediately relaxes. And you should be glad that he's in elf form right now, because if he were in Kitsune form, his tail would be moving about very excitedly.
You see she kind of indicates some of the, pitfall, like the traps that you set around there. Not bad work. I figured the lot of you would be around here eventually. Lupin, good to see you.
Hearing that, Lupin immediately does his best to sort of smooth out his hair. It's like, oh, Red, it's good to see you again. Did you, get my note?
Got the note. I decided it'd be time for me to come back to town. I'm sure we could still get dinner, although perhaps not tonight with the excitement in town.
Oh, yeah, that, big meeting, me and, my crew here gonna be attending that, which, by the way, folks, let me introduce to you this, good friend of mine I've done some, jobs with. I call her, Red, but she goes by, Carmen.
Charmed, I'm sure. She just kind of like stands up and like dusts the sand. I was gonna say dust the dust for a second to make sense. Dust the sand off of her coat. She's like, if my sources are to be believed, the lot of you have been investigating that old mire of misfortune known as the pit. Is that correct?
Yes, and, according to a certain curio collector, so have you.
She kind of like taps the side of her nose. She's like, lady never tells about her adventures, but, well, I thought you all might like to know some information about the pit itself. You all aren't the only ones, besides me, included in that, the only group delving into the pit these days. There seems to be a group of 4 or 5 or so of them who, well, they're being bankrolled from Magnamar, if I am to be, well, certain of my sources, which I am. Although there was one name amongst their crew that I did find interesting, and I thought you all might find interesting as well. A local bard, one Erica Averton. You guys would know this is the like the local sweets shop owner's daughter who lost her like whole party in the pit.
He decided to go back down.
Gold talks, my dear.
That is true.
Although whether it's just gold motivating her, I'm sure I couldn't begin to guess.
Speaking of things that talk, I hear you're someone who may have mutual interest in humiliating the sheriff.
Sheriff, well, I do like to trip up the old blowhard whenever possible.
Well, if
Do you have some mischief
you
in
know
mind?
any, I may have made a promise to a ghost. It's a whole thing, but I was hoping to
See your
maybe
eyebrows
make
kind of
him
shoot up at
feel feel like a bit of an outsider, and I was considering perhaps doing something with this nifty little sword that makes everyone talk loudly who is using it. I figured maybe present him a gift of the sword and then put him in a situation where he makes a bit of a fool of himself.
Also, for reference, you guys would know what the sheriff looks like, but that's the old art from Return of the Rise of the Rune Lord, the original campaign. This is the new art.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're very different. I don't know.
They are extremely different.
The new
Yeah.
one threw me off. I had to like go back and look at it again. Like, is that the same guy?
He looks a lot older than the new one.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean,
is probably
he-
the point.
I mean, to be
Which is-
fair,
yeah.
he is like, how many years is that in game? Because the same as in the real
Like,
world. Like at least 15, 17, something like that.
15, 20, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But I'm just gonna basically continue. The best sorts of the best sorts of this type of thing, in my experience, are personal, and I was thinking that those who might have mutual interest might know personal information about the man. I mean, aside, of course, from his not so secret marriage that everyone knows.
Well, I'll say this: he'll be at the town meeting tonight. He's on the town council.
Do you have any sort of personal information about him? Things he might be embarrassed by?
I think the era of him being embarrassed by his wife has long since passed. Embarrassment's hard, but I think, well, one
or perhaps
thing
not embarrassed.
I think that he is from time to time, perhaps embarrassed is too strong a word, but maybe even guilty. He's been in this town for almost decades at this point, and there's been a lot of issues that have been resolved by others, not him. I imagine that's got to be frustrating.
That's true. It's very helpful, thank you.
She tips her hat, of course. She goes to. It looks like she's starting to walk away, and she's like, "Lupin, perhaps not dinner tonight because of the council, but the evening after."
Oh, well, perhaps that would be lovely. Though, if you are free tonight after the party, perhaps we could forego dinner and go right to dessert.
We'll see. But she gives like a big like wink. All right. I think she goes to like walk back up the beach path, and like the moment everyone's not looking, and then looks back, she'll like have disappeared.
All right. I'm gonna look around and see if anyone else is around.
Now you can give me a perception check. That one she was being obvious, but go ahead.
And Tarek, I think you said
yeah, you said you wanted to as well, Tarek.
If I see Sylvina looking around, I would probably do this. Not fantastic.
I mean, between the two of you, you don't see anybody. Seems you have the beach to yourselves as a party.
I'm gonna start talking in Elven first, and first I'll say in Orcish. I'll explain to you in a second, Tarek, and then I'll go in an Elven, and I'll basically say, all right, last night I was approached by an undead sort seeking to make a deal that we would not go after him and his with violence, and in return they would stay without violence beneath the town and beneath the town's radar. In return, they will also give us a minor sturdy shield, a wand of ray of enfeeblement, and a pair of goggles of night. We would have to sign a contract. I have reviewed it, and I believe that it will also keep their town safe from them. In addition, because we are allowed to meet with them for non-violent purposes, I believe that they could be a great source of information when it seems that, well, quite frankly, the cathedral is rather unqualified to speak to us on such matters as we have been encountering. The man seemed very intelligent, and I am here to advocate on behalf of this deal.
All right, you presumably translate that again to Orc. Do both?
Yes.
Sorry, Elvish isn't my best language. I'm sure this was me mishearing something. You said an undead sort?
Yeah, what sort of undead are we talking about here?
The kind that wants to kill Goblin wasn't happy with them in his territory.
Alright, Lupin does think it over because he does remember the, was it the goblin that was, like, eyeing up his, pistol before. So, he's thinking about it, but you can, I'm not even gonna have you roll for it. You can tell he is considering it.
Okay.
Quite frankly, I think that this is the best option to keep the town safe from them. Having met him, I can say that if he wished the town ill, he could have already done so with ease. I think he just wants to be left in peace and to leave the town in peace. After our last foray down there, I think he is mostly looking for an assurance that we won't go and hunt him down.
Tarek frowns. Well, that also brings me to why I wanted to speak with you and Gangini. We'll come back to that in a moment when we can speak normally. He frowns
I'll translate
deeply.
from Orcish to Elvish.
I don't love the idea of such unnatural things scurrying beneath the town. But I recognize that antagonizing them is far worse, considering other circumstances at the moment. And he's kind of grimacing a bit about it. He's like, druids aren't, they're not like compelled to annihilate undead like a typical cleric is, but they also don't necessarily have no great love at all for some of the most unnatural of things you're likely to encounter. Man, that's my cat. But I think so, and I also checked Ben. That is not against my druidic anathema to. I am not compelled to seek out undead or anything like that. But
okay, cool. I figured
Yeah,
you'd
I was
follow
double
him.
checking. Yeah, I'm briefly out of character. I like that PF2E is not. They make the anathema, at least for the druids so far, relatively lenient.
Yeah.
Um,
No, for sure.
Not only is it a no for me, but if I see a ghoul, I'm gonna cut it down.
Hey, 4 out of 5 signatures.
You
Not
won't
bad.
see them. It
Or
will
what?
keep them. You won't see them. It will keep them out of your view.
I am signing no contract, and if I see a ghoul, I will kill them. The fact that it's offering you
Who's
gifts in exchange for this.
will the rest of you sign?
All right, I'll do it.
Gangini?
Oh, the idea of negotiating with a ghoul sounds dubious.
I've read over the contract, and you're welcome to yourself.
And I think I'm with Roland on this one. I think that's a no for me.
Also, you're free to do whatever you want, but if you accept its gifts, I will think less of you.
I was actually planning on giving the gifts to you.
I'll
I
be
don't think I can use any
disappointed.
of those.
Well, I will refuse any gifts given by a ghoul.
All right. So we say no to gifts. 3 of us will sign and 2 won't. Is that?
Tarek is mulling it. He'll look to Sylvie and is like, "You're certain of this?" I I would be content to leave bygones be bygones, but the signing of a contract is a distinctly civilized notion.
The contract seems pretty clear that it'll keep them off of the surface, Ben.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm quite convinced. And I will handle all dealings with them that have to be undertaken. I know that you all, and honestly I do too, an extent as well, find it unpleasant.
And as far as is their entire question,
Yep.
will taking this deal prevent us from accessing the flume, the Hellstorm flume again? Because I have reason to believe we'll need it.
The stipulation we added, I believe, specifically says we can't go down there with violent intent towards them, right?
Yeah, but they were allowing you to go down to like talk.
Yeah.
So in
So
theory,
that would
no,
mean that
it's
we'd
not
still
not
be-
barring you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not barring us from the Hellstorm.
You understand that these ghouls may be connected to one of the several dooms of Sandpoint.
And letting them go free and seeking them out now and trying to fight them could do doom to Sandpoint in and of itself.
Or not taking care of them now might lead to them gaining more power and causing a bigger problem later on.
The paranoia of prophecy. Love a good prophecy.
It's a ghoul. I'm willing to like live and let live with the goblins. I don't like it, but they are of this world, and can easily be threatened to fuck off. Undead are a different matter.
I can see the logic.
Whether you like it or not, undead tends to be about. And quite frankly, they've been here for some time.
Yes, but they're usually brought back by supernatural forces.
Yes.
Usually malevolent ones. When someone says necromancer, they don't tend to think of a nice old wizard trying to
No,
help
no,
everyone.
they don't. I've stated my opinion. I've stated my case. Roland, I understand you would not be willing to sign.
So it sounds like at least
Gangini as well. The question, I believe, is Tarek, right?
yeah. So you and Lupin are signing. At least that's what it sounded like. And then Tarek, what are you thinking?
He's considering it very carefully. Which I imagine is also kind of nonplussing to see this enormous orc just kind of carefully thinking about things. Midnight tonight is when you meet this thing.
Yes. That is when Wolgar said that he would expect me to return the contract if we decide to sign.
You are aware that he may also be lying to you, and this may just be a trap.
Yes.
You said, did Sylvina describe him at all?
If you ask, I'll describe him to you.
Okay.
So, because Tarek would have seen him following us as we entered the town.
Now, if Tarek is the one who asks, I'll obviously do the description in Orcish, which means the others won't necessarily know the description unless they also ask. But
Okay. You pass that
Saw
information along in Orcish.
Saw that thing tailing us when we entered the town.
So it must have been following you guys for a while.
The ghouls may also not be a problem if we just eliminate them now. And if we talk to
you're
Father,
very trigger happy.
they're ghouls in a peaceful town.
What you said
I will
about
say you
the
did know that they
goblins
were. You did know that they were.
who weren't even in
ghasts.
town.
Or you
Yeah,
did know that
this one's a
this
ghast.
one's a ghast, which is
More powerful.
yes, and
Summons the
controlling
ghouls.
however many
Yeah.
ghouls it might be.
So how much of this is just you're afraid to fight a ghast?
I think this is the best solution to the problem.
I think it might be wise to consult Father Xantis. I mean, this is in his town, and he is priest.
Do I think the Desnans have a duty to eliminate undead, Ben?
Not like as
We can
much
also-
as certain religions, but they don't love it.
So I assume, but like, do I think Xantus would be against this deal to just let them be? For religious reasons.
I think potentially. I also think he might. He has a lot of leeway in his approaches to this. Approaches to dealing.
He seems pragmatic.
Yeah.
But he also may be able to lend us a hand in wiping out undead.
Why are you so eager to wipe them out? If we can come to a peaceable conclusion that keeps them from harming the town, why do we need to wipe them out? Why make extra work for ourselves when we don't have to?
As they're undead, it's in their nature.
The contract
'Cause
prohibits
fuck 'em.
them from doing it.
Is there anything innately magical of the contract? Is there anything that is an actual compulsion for them on it?
No, it just seems to be like a well-written legal contract.
It's a legal contract.
As far as I'm aware, the undead don't really give a shit about the law.
This one clearly does. How many undead do you know who walk around with spectacles? And how many undead do you know, Roland?
I fought undead in the past.
Yes, but do you know them? Because it sounds like you just killed them on sight, which means my guess is you don't know
They
if
usually
they do
attack
follow or
people,
not.
and then I kill them.
And this one didn't attack, so your solution is still to kill.
Yes, but being an intelligent undead does not mean it's not also evil.
I'm not saying it's not evil. I'm saying that this is a way to keep the town safe without problem.
I think this is just kicking the can down the road to something that will eventually become a bigger problem.
If you wish for us to go discuss it with Xantus, we can. But at the moment, as far as I'm aware, out of character, Tarek is the one who's still deciding, right?
I'm still mulling it because I'm split two different ways on it.
Well, while
You're trying to
you're
convince him,
mulling
and I'm
it,
going to convince him the other way.
Yeah.
while you're mulling it, you guys still also have some leads. You have investigating the hell flume. I mean, you have the pit itself. There is more to explore down there by a mile. Not to mention checking in about Erica Averton.
Also, I want to kind of go and talk to some people from the Mercantile League if I get the chance before the meeting.
Yeah, let's see, probably have time.
So, Tarek, you mentioned something about the flume?
Yes. I had a vision last night. That magic that powered that place. I believe it can be repurposed. I don't know what end yet, but I want to examine it further. But this is my knowledge of how the Thessalonians perform their arcane arts is limited. I'd hoped you might help me.
Yeah, I could go check it out. I got my Thessalonian translation book that might help too.
I also speak the language now, which means I can get through it quickly, if need be.
That's better than my book.
I'd like to take some time to examine it. As far as this contract goes, for the moment, I will think about it.
All right.
But I'm inclined to leave them be, but I am not interested in signing a contract. Among other things, it is a distinctly civilized thing, but I'm
Do
also
you
not
have
interested.
disagreements with being civil? Or is it simply that you don't like contracts?
Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
That's
All right.
fair.
So you have 2 signing, 3 don't sign. As you think
For
about
now,
where
I'm
to
fine.
go,
Yeah.
for now. As you think about where to go into the town next, let's take a quick bathroom break and then come back,
Sounds good.
and we'll be back in a few minutes. There we go. Okay. I don't know that the other parts are. Can one of you guys say something?
Hello?
Okay, I guess it is. It was
Something.
just being weird.
Ooh.
It's working. It's working. There we go. Okay. So anything to do during the day here, or whenever you're ready, you can always kind of quick time it to the meeting.
It sounds like me and Tarek and probably Sylvina are going to the flume to investigate.
All right.
That's not the ghouls. That's Tarek's thing, right?
Yeah.
I'll probably go with
Yeah,
you.
that was the vision.
It's this room, yeah?
Yeah, that's the focus.
Alright.
Just gonna bring everyone in. So
Now
can
that
see.
I can read Thessalonian, can I glean anything more?
I mean, I think you take, taking 10 and stuff, taking 20. Sorry, oh my god.
No worries. Oh
You
my god.
determine the main focus was indeed to channel truly insane amounts of evocation power into just destructive beams of energy to be fired out of the what was
I'm
once the light. Sorry, I thought you were back there.
No, I was shifting laundry.
Oh, my bad. We're just recounting that you guys are confirming you do indeed know the purpose of the Hellstorm Flume, which is this giant weapon that Elasnest would have had in her Wrath arsenal. That being said, I think reading through this, Sylvina, this is part of the mechanism that does that. This is the part of the mechanism that, judging from what Tarek has said, you're able to confirm this is for gathering and, focusing magical power.
Okay.
Whether that has to be what you're thinking of, whether that has to be, a beam of fucking death ray, doesn't seem to be the case. You can almost, feel the power bubbling in the room.
Okay.
Lupin thinks for a moment, then he gets an idea. He'll reach out to grab the Monarch. He's like, you think this might do something?
What do? Are you just holding it up?
Well, he's holding it in front of him, and then he'll, not wanting to recite here, he'll just slowly hold it out towards, hold it forwards. Just moving very slowly, just watch to see if there's any reaction at all.
You see it kind of gives off a defensive, a gleam lights it up, but that seems to be more protective than interacting with what's here.
Oh yes.
What else? I think Tarek kind of looking at it. I think I don't want to say exasperated. He's not. I think he had this vision. He's still trying to figure out what to make of it in terms, and plus thinking of the number of other things.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, there must be a reason I was shown this.
It seems like it just gathers a large amount of energy, even if it was expressly made to be a weapon. Doesn't mean we have to use it in that way.
Wonder if Quink might know how. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You want to ask? You said talking about Quink.
I wonder if Quink might know have some inkling of how Thessalonians gathered the energy. that they used for this system. Perhaps if we might have those combusted, we damn it, I keep lapsing into Shaw's accent. Those combusted we found here.
Mm-hmm.
Were they offerings? Were they? He kind of trails off. Ben, can I make a nature? I was hoping I could make like a check to see if there's. I might have some idea of how this place generates power, or is it? Unfortunately, I don't have Arcana trained. I have occultism and I have nature, but I don't know if any of my skills I have would necessarily be useful in this case.
Are you trying to determine like what would have caused them?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like. Yeah, I think he's kind of frustrated because this is kind of out of his wheelhouse. If there's nothing I can really do, then that's fine. But
I feel like it would probably be religion or arcana, because they are
yeah,
undead, which would be religion, but they are undead as a direct result of arcane.
I'm not trained in either of them, unfortunately.
Alright. You feel like you're on the verge of something here, but there might be like a missing piece to the equation.
Maybe we should talk to Broderick Quink first.
Yeah, you guys can head over to Broderick.
Right. As yours, like, oh
If-
yeah, that's right. I did promise him that I'd let him study me.
If you all are gonna head to Broderick, I'm gonna head to the headquarters of the Mercantile League if possible.
Okay.
Sylvina, before you go,
Which I think that is.
Yes.
I think you're right in that treating with this thing is not a bad idea, and that it's best to avoid unnecessary conflict. But understand, I will be bound by no contract. Hold the piece of paper up to the wolf and tell me what happens. It is not in my nature. But I will abide by a ceasefire until such point as they threaten us with harm.
Alright.
Very well.
So 2 sign, 2 not. 1 acquiescing to a ceasefire but not signing.
Yeah.
If I so basically
Mercantile
my
League
plan,
is 40 by the way. It's down there.
when I go, because I know his name, I can just whisper on the wind to Wolgar. Or we'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I think Tarek sees the logic of it, but is deeply unsatisfied with the notion of trying to make it a binding thing. So, especially as an untamed druid, I don't think civilized law sits well with him.
I'm basically gonna tell the ghoul, 2 sign, 2 don't. 1 does not believe in contracts but agrees to the deal. If
One will
that makes
murder
sense.
you on sight.
What?
But I assume you're not rolling. Are you going to search them out if they stay below ground?
We have other problems at the moment. So,
Okay.
so long as if anyone in town though,
Yeah.
like sees a ghast or a ghoul,
We're gonna have a major problem.
also desecrating the dead if they're like raising undead from the graveyard from people who aren't willing.
Yes.
And I am telling Father Xantis and letting him know keep track of the buried. I mean, no if any get erased.
Alright. So you can keep track of that.
Do we know, Roland, that you are a former Iomade person?
I don't think he's mentioned it yet.
I don't think we do.
Roland has not. Roland has not said much.
Yeah.
I think
That's what I thought.
there may be like on a sword like a what do you call it, scratched out
Or like a
Holy
holy
symbol.
symbol.
engraving on it.
Yeah.
Like an
Would that be
inscription.
like a perception check for them?
Yeah, I'd say honestly, yeah, I'd say give me a perception check on him during that argument.
Ooh, Tarek didn't see it.
Everyone's blind as fuck.
I mean, if
Maybe Sylvina?
Sylvina, I think you would see the scratched out Iomedean sword.
Probably with my
it would've
religious
said-
background, I'm more aware of what it is.
Yeah.
You might be able to make out, "I will suffer death before dishonor."
Hmm.
I think once I start heading towards the Mercantile League, I'm just gonna be like, oh, I don't want to deal with Iomade people.
Christians are too
I mean, it
free
is
flowing for
scratched
that. That's true. I mean, you did see, like, it's not, doesn't look like he's
Yeah.
actively worshiping.
Yeah.
We'll do we'll do Broderick Quink stuff first. Welcome back, friends. More to learn about the old Thessalonians, eh?
Indeed. I had for lack of a better term, a vision last night.
A
As
vision.
it relates to the flume.
Oh.
I believe it is possible to alter the focusing chamber to use other forms of energy other than the destructive ones that the flume is known for. But I don't. To understand how they generate their power is beyond my understanding. We'd hoped, and I gestured to Gangini and myself, we'd hoped you might have some ideas of where we might look as far as how we can understand. If something is to be altered, we have to know how it worked to begin with.
Well, I can. Did you show me what you've read and translated, and let's take a look.
We'll lay out everything we've got up to this point.
He's gonna take 20 on that. This Hellstorm Focus is indeed. It was meant as a weapon. Activation and control system, it looks like. He's like poring over his notes. Some of the other runes here, though, it seems that the Rune Lord Elasnist, she would have been able to suppress the evocation, focusing the chamber on conjuration. With something like that, she'd be able to link it to a portal of some sort?
A sort of portal that could connect to elemental fire beings, perhaps?
More a transportation portal. It was not unheard of for the Rune Lords to have multiple methods of travel instantaneously throughout their 7 kingdoms. But
So this could be used as a teleporter. Okay.
What teleport? Oh.
But that would require. He strokes his beard. And he's like, well, yes and no. If it would seem it would have been linked to a specific portal. the odds of much of anything surviving the fall of Thassalon and the apocalyptic events surrounding it are low. I imagine it'd be unlikely that such a portal would still exist, but it looks like it did have that capability to link to such a portal.
We create a new portal?
I'm not sure I'd want to go anywhere the Thessalonians went.
You see, he kind of scratches the top of his bald pate and considers it. Well, I mean, I understand your hesitation, Tarek, but while much of Thassalon's magical fortresses are to be avoided if they are still having active remnants in there, the young man does have an interesting point. You could connect it to some sort of teleportation circle.
Interesting.
Such a ritual, someone powerful enough in magical energy would have to, I'd imagine, spend a good hour focusing their energies into the stone. It would be tricky for one such as you. Not no insult intended. This would be something that powerful mages normally do, but not impossible if you tried. That being said, do you have a teleportation circle you would link to the energies of the Hellstorm focus?
Tarek looks over at Gangini and just kind of shrugs.
Is there one in the pit?
Now that
That
is an interesting
seems-
proposition. Did you see any more Thessalonian markings in your first delve into the pit?
We saw lots of strange things. I wasn't looking for Thessalonian, to be honest. I was rather occupied by some other things.
Namely the 7 million spiders we were having to deal with, among other problems.
Spiders
Yes.
do suck.
Yeah, more ways than one.
Like blood. Indeed.
I mean, we certainly have to go back to the pit, so I will keep a keen eye out for a Thessalonian or
It's-
teleportation portal.
It's over 150 feet deep, I imagine. There's plenty to explore, albeit carefully.
Tarek snorts. The first floor is already an unpleasant enough welcome. Can only imagine things will be more interesting as we proceed further.
How difficult is it to make your own teleportation circle?
Quite.
I kind of figured that.
I believe it would. It's not a spell per se. It would be a ritual spell. But you'd have to have a good amount of gold worth of materials, multiple casters. Typically, arcane casters would create a teleportation circle. Not to mention the actual skill needed during your rolls. Both the primary caster and secondary casters would have a difficult time of it.
Yeah, you're using a lot of plurals here. That I don't think we fill the requirements of.
Well, most rituals would need at least 3, I'd imagine.
Right. Surely somewhere like the pit might have a teleportation circle.
The pit is shrouded in mystery, but if there is any location where crazy ruins like that would be found, I mean, this is Varizia. The Thessalonian powers sprawled throughout this area.
Well, Tarek nods. Well, that's another thing we can keep an eye out for, at least.
Certainly better than having functionally explosive under the town.
Much. Tarek thinks about it a minute. Where did they... You've talked about how it can use different kinds of energies. How do they create these energies? Was it just pure magical power? Were the Rune Lords that intense?
Well, for one, yes, the Rune Lords had power beyond almost any caster that started out mortal. I mean, the amount of them that survived eons to be here in various forms in the modern day cannot be overstated. That being said, they often siphoned energies from various places. There's the energy of the planet itself, thermal energies, energy from other planes. I know that the ancient Aslanti often used other planes to harness power.
Hmm. I think this is beyond our ken for the moment, but
But
I'll
if
be
we found the
interested to...
circle,
then
this could
perhaps we
be.
can...
If you found a
Interesting.
functioning circle, you could. It would take you effort. But yes, you could link the two.
Interesting.
Is there any telltale signs we would need to look for besides the Thessalonian language?
That would be a great help, but any of you that are skilled in identifying the arcane, just keep your eyes out for the right circles of runes. More than likely, I would say they'd probably be etched into the floor, typically. And permanent teleportation circles, this isn't the type of ritual done with... You can do it with simply purified magical chalk, but if these were permanent ones that the Thassalonians were creating, they'd be carved, cast in metal, something to that effect.
Tarek kind of chuckles momentarily. Considering what we found in the ruins, I could imagine they probably also have a number of traps trying to kill us, considering they seem to like death everywhere in their places.
So there'll be multiple things to keep an eye out for.
Indeed.
Well, good thing you're traveling with someone who's can disarm traps.
Indeed. It's an interesting proposition.
Perhaps tomorrow you could seek out the subsequent floor, see if there's anything down there.
It's my inclination at this point anyway. We haven't known any further leads yet on our
That is an
main purpose
exciting
here.
thing to look out for, then.
It is. Especially if it provides us ease of access to the pit. Without having...
Surely I could get a teleportation circle running again.
Well, your dice will stop fucking you eventually.
Look, I have hero points, I got channel points.
Just statistically, it's gotta happen, right?
I think
Yeah.
hearing that, Lupin will just sort of like, boost you a bit. It's like, oh, of course, I'm sure a teleportation circle would be no trouble for the Great Gangini.
No, of course, of course. The Great Gaguni is very happy to have his ego stroked at any occasion. So we're very okay with this.
Okay.
Yes, but we have the debate tonight, but tomorrow we have an exciting direction to explore.
Sounds good.
And are you turning in that contract before you go to the...
I thought we were doing the meeting first and then Sylvina
Yeah,
was...
Oh, yeah,
Contract's
sorry, that's
at
at the end. Yeah,
midnight.
that's at midnight.
Yeah.
Are you headed to the Mercantile League, then? I feel like
Yes.
Broderick probably has as much information as he can give. Okay. You can head to the Mercantile League to speak with... the one you had heard about was Jasper Korvosky.
Yes. I believe he recently got married. It said in the
In the guide.
yeah. In the campaign player's guide.
Yes, the player's guide, to clarify. I'd say, yeah. I mean, it probably takes you a little bit to get through the line. But you're directed in by, like, a secretary to a small office. Jasper's there, not, like, in full armor, but you can see, like, a sword leaning against the desk. He's exchanged that for, like, a quill for the day. Got a breastplate on still, though. Kind of looks up, dabs his quill on a bit of blotting paper. You are Sylvina, correct?
Yes.
I believe you have ties to some of my acquaintances.
Indeed. I first off would like to congratulate, I guess, on your recent nuptials.
Oh, you heard about that. Thank you.
Yes. And then I come with an opportunity and a concern.
An opportunity and a concern. He like fully puts down his quill at this point, like leans back, arms spread over his breastplate. What? Which would you like to start with?
The opportunity. By the way, can I tell what he's a paladin of, or who he's a paladin of?
I think it's you don't need to check. It's pretty prominently a paladin of Abadar.
Okay.
You can
That's
see
what
there's
I
like
assumed, but I just wanted to check.
The key to the first vault holy symbol is kind of like engraved on his chest plate.
Mm-hmm. the opportunity relates to the cathedral. Currently, many of its supplies are being provided by, well, Alistair. However, Abstelar Xantus finds the man distasteful, and I think he would be eager to find business with people he relates to more. I believe that this could be an opportunity of the Mercantile League to not just expand your coffers, but to gain more popular support in town through your dealings with such a center of the town.
I see the appeal, although crossing the Scarnettis, one of the founding families in Sandpoint, is often a tall ask.
Well, that is where we come to my concern, unfortunately.
What is the
I'm
concern?
sure you have heard the recent rumors concerning Xantus's efforts to make peace with the ghost of Nualia.
I had heard some hearsay to that effect.
Yes. Well, after looking into it, it seems that Charn Scarnetti is behind. I think that much of this is in an effort for him to remain a big fish in a small pond.
I had heard he
But
had
I think that
his mob turned heel thanks to some local do-gooders.
I suppose so.
I'm sure he took that quite well.
Well, yes. My concern, however, is that if he has his way, commerce in the town will never expand beyond a certain point.
Ooh.
I believe that he seeks to sow distrust amongst the town and try to quash connections outside, which cannot be good for trade. And I believe he is using these rumors to exacerbate the issue.
You see, he kind of like picks at the back of his gloves. Your skill in this quarter is not to be underestimated, it would seem.
As much as I hate to admit it, I had a good teacher.
Well, the Scarnettis. If indeed they are doing all of this, then perhaps this opportunity you speak of can help in a lot of ways.
I was thinking that might be the case.
And if you don't mind me asking, this is a lot of concern to go to. Is this a personal vendetta?
Against the Scarnettis, no. Against Alistair, yes. But
doesn't entirely surprise me.
I'm just gonna pull out my little gate attenuator Calistria holy symbol and say, the best form of vengeance is personal. And I intend to tear down
go ahead.
Alistair's little trade. Well, I'm not sure I would call it an empire, but the point stands. And those who are willing to move into openings created have potential to earn lots of money in my wake.
So he kind of like quirks a smile at that, and he's like, kind of like tisks a little, like jokingly. He's like, now I don't know that the Master of Law and Scales would appreciate such a plan, and I certainly would never dream of this. But the Master of the First Vault does love a good economic opportunity. I must say, I find myself jealous of your god's flexibility. Keep that to yourself, though.
Of course.
Very well, I can't promise a change overnight, but my people will reach out to Father Xantus' people.
I appreciate it. And I hope that we can do business in the future. I have an eye for numbers, and I'm aware that you all are doing great work here.
Sorry, my cat's trying to bite me. He holds out a hand to shake, and he's like,
yeah,
very well.
I'll shake it.
Much different than your previous handshake yesterday. Just like all like silk glove.
Yeah,
warm,
I definitely
warm, not
washed
cold.
my hands
Yeah,
thoroughly,
sure.
repeatedly when I got home.
All right. So got some info, some moves made on both fronts there. Anywhere else you guys are hitting up during the day before sunset hits?
I would say for Lupin, he would have waited for the rest of you guys to leave Broderick Quink's place, and once you guys were away, he would have quickly jogged back and say, "All right, Mr. Quink, or is it Doctor Quink?"
Mister, Professor, it doesn't matter.
Right, Quink then. All right. So, I know I had agreed to let you study me because you seem to be
Yes.
curious about my heritage. But I do want, since you seem so eager, I figure it'd be best if I was honest with you about my intentions with such an endeavor.
By all means, state your intent, dear fellow.
Well, the thing is, I grew up at the orphanage here in town, run by the church over at the cathedral, and well, the only thing I really know about myself before then was my name. Apparently, the lady running the orphanage there said that it was a rainy night and really bad storm, and there was a knock on the door, and I was just wrapped up in a basket, and all there was just a little piece of parchment with my name on it.
Oh. Most unusual origin. What did the paper say?
I just had my name. He's like, and he gives a bow like he does whenever he's formally introduced himself. Arsène Raoul Lupin.
He seems to ponder that. Certainly a strong name. Has the ring of high station about it. Have you discovered any matches to it?
No, I haven't, though not for like a trying. Thing is, never seen anyone like myself around town. At least, well, and he snaps his fingers and poofs into Kitsune form. At least, it look like this anyway.
You see, he takes out like one of those like long metal prong things that used to measure like the circumference of people's heads, and just starts like taking measurements of you. He's like, well, I mean, it would appear. I'm not surprised you don't see many of your kind. Kitsune are often found more to the east, the eastern continents, than here. Which begs the question, how did you get dropped off here?
Well, I'll say, Quink, that is something that both you and I are both curious about. And sort of curious as to where I come from, or I don't know. It might be a sky high dream, but maybe finding out who my parents were and how I ended up on that doorstep that stormy night.
Well, I admit my area's expertise are more in the ancient study, but I do love a good mystery. I can see what I could dig up on your namesake.
Right. And that's what I mean to say. Like, since you're doing this for me, I figure I, you know, I'd offer myself to you for whatever this study is, you know, without, you know, you without without charging you for it, but on the condition that, if there's anything I feel uncomfortable with, you know, I'm gonna bow out just to warn you.
Very well. Let's start with some measurements then. You have a deal.
What sort of things you gonna be measuring on me, mon ami?
Oh, mainly just height, size of your head, the distance to your tail. Does your height change when you're on one form or the other? It all sounds pretty innocuous, what he lists.
Alright.
The really interesting test will come later.
When you say interesting, what do you mean?
We'll find out later. Oh, if you're uncomfortable with it, I'm sure you'll be able to bow out.
Alright, let the experiments begin.
Alright, he starts working on that.
Can I stop by the town hall earlier in the day, before the meeting, and see if I can see the mayor? Or do I think I would be able to see the mayor if I went there earlier in the day?
You could try, probably some diplomacy checks to get in. Usually that's not like a without an appointment type deal.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Alright, never mind. In that case, I would just like to go to the blacksmith.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a pickaxe, and I want to ask him if he can do a custom job for me.
Yeah, I can do a pickaxe pretty easily. What's the custom order, though? He kind of gestures. It probably has like a bunch of pickaxes already there, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I can just buy one of those. For the custom job, I was wondering if you could make up a little medal or award for me.
Like a little disc type metal?
Yeah. Something you might give someone as a commendation.
So something more like a military medal, then.
Yeah, something along those lines.
I mean, I suppose. Did you have a design in mind? It's not really something I usually make, but I mean, I'll give it a whirl.
You're free to take the artistic liberties you desire.
So just a medal of anything. Could be a donkey.
I mean, if you think someone would feel honored to wear such a thing.
So it should be something they'd be honored to be seen in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. If you have any more desires with it. I know, she doesn't really make that type of thing, but, Sava up at Sava's Armory, she might be able to know. She knows some about military decoration.
Do you think you would be able to consult with her on the design work? I'd be willing to pay the both of you.
Yeah, I suppose I could. I'm sure she'll bill you for her time, but yeah, I could check in with Miss Bavinski.
Unless you think I would be better served by going to her for all the work.
No, I think I can make it for you. I figured she might be able to put an idea in your head of what you're looking for.
I have faith that the two of you can figure it out.
All right.
How does, I don't know, 5 gold stand to cover the both of you, and you can pay her for her time with that?
That sounds mighty fair to me.
All right.
All right, you got
And
a
how
deal.
much for the pickaxe?
So let me look up how much pickaxes are. I think it's like a silver piece, if I recall.
Sure.
He'll tell you the price, but it's gonna be fucking small.
Oh.
It's like 5 silver.
Okay, that's fine. And I'll give him that, and I'll give him the 5 gold.
All right. You sling that over your pack, or however you want to carry it. So you secured that. You did that. Is excuse me. Is anyone trying to go to Erica Averton's house?
So she's is that the baker's daughter?
Yeah, I think it's more like sweets, not just pastries, but yeah. But she is that person's daughter. You know where that person lives. She lives like above Sandpoint Savories, which is her shop. It's over here, number 21 by Sand Street.
Yeah, I suppose after we've left Broder's shop, can see if Gangini and Roland want to go over there, since Sylvina's working with the Merchant Guild at the time.
Okay.
Actually, and Lupin has stayed behind with Broder, so
Yeah.
the rest of us, I think, could go pay her a visit.
All right, you guys arrive at Sandpoint Savories. It's on 90 Main Street, in case you're curious. Corner of Main Street and Sand Street. You like tantalizing smells coming from this bakery. Sweet, savory, all manner. And by her reputation, that Alma Averton, the head of the shop, she puts, care, skill, and love into all of these creations. As the door kind of like, her bell is a lot more like jolly sounding than the one of the Feathered Serpent, which was all like clangy and a little off-putting. Oh, what can I do you for? And she's like rather squat, thickly built woman baker. Seems to be human.
We're looking to speak with Erica. We're undergoing some journeys outside of town. We'd like to speak with her if we could.
Give me a diplomacy check.
Crap. I really need to get trained in this at some point.
Both of us who do diplomacy are elsewhere.
Would you rather I took care of the diplomacy?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, give it a whirl.
We're just trying to convince people to back us at the meeting, right?
Yeah, that's a 2.
All right.
I'm gonna give Roland. Have you already used both of your hero points?
No.
I'll give you one. I have a channel point.
Well, that's for the Great Gangini's
roll.
role.
Well, I mean, I haven't used it.
Oh, that's Gangini. Oh, that was you on it too.
That's the
Oh,
Gangini.
Yeah. Roland would roll a 2.
Roland could never.
All right. I'm using a hero point.
All right, I have channel points if you need more.
All right.
There we go.
Also, like that I specified the fucking crit hit deck. I was not expecting us to do so much roleplay. Fucking
Sorry
incredible.
about that, Ben.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
That's why the ghouls were there. That's what they were for.
The ghouls were there. But hey, I mean, hey,
Yeah,
talk to them.
but out of character, I think it would be really fun to fight him. In character, not Sylvina's approach.
I will say, you being alone, having a conversation with the guest, I was like, she is in so much trouble right now.
This is the
Yeah, I
sub
was-
That's the
again.
thing. But you guys,
Yeah, I
that's the
again.
thing. But you guys split up. It would have been dangerous to pull the trigger. Like 1-on-1 with a gas would have been. You'd have had to gotten pretty lucky.
If I had been concerned, I would have immediately messaged Stellar, like, I need help in the.
True, but I mean, hey, we can measure on the map how far, like, the middle of the cathedral is to that street you guys are on. It's like 200 feet. Would have been a couple rounds before you could even like get anyone to you.
No, that's true. I would have been running away, and Abstellar probably would have had to come meet me. But
out of character, Ben, if she had messaged me, I was already looking at my animal forms to see what the fastest
what the
one
fastest
I had
movement
was.
speed was.
yeah.
I think
Incidentally, it
Yankini,
was a stag.
like, that makes sense. Pours on the charm, disarms Alma a little bit, and she's just like, "You're wanting to talk to Erica. I get it, but me and her, to be honest, have been on the outs and outs lately." She's still living in town usually, although she's been away for a couple weeks now.
Where's she going?
She went to visit an old friend in Magnamar.
How far away is that?
It's a good ways.
It's a decent way. She would have had to like ride for a decent chunk.
It's like a day's ride up the coast, right?
Yeah. Might even be a couple days. But Magnamar Magnamar's like the closest of the. It's a lot of city states in Varizia, but it's like the closest one, and it's massive.
Wait, can we insight her? She's holding out.
Yeah, give me an insight check.
I'll do that too.
That's just the perception roll, right?
Yeah, rolled into perception. I think Gangini and Roland are both thinking, like, she's really pissed at her daughter. Tarek, I think I'll bump you up to a crit success there because you succeeded by more than 10. Yeah, she's pissed at Erica, but she's, like, deeply worried about Erica. Like, she thinks she's, like, not safe.
Has she sent word back that she actually reached to whatever that place was called?
Magnamar. She's like, I heard back. She did send word. She's up there with a couple others. She said they'd be back in town fairly soon.
Probably too late to even get her back here in time.
Certainly for the
I don't know.
Derek kind of nods, but he doesn't say.
Said she was hanging out with some friend named Chertis. Chertis Jahid.
Well, we can speak with her when she gets back to town.
How do you spell that, Ben?
You guys supposed to make a Sandpoint knowledge check on that.
I think I'm the only one who has Sandpoint knowledge, and I'm not there.
It's fair. Then, yeah, don't roll it.
Yeah. You can pass that on later.
You did say this is a bard we're looking for, right?
Yeah, she's a bard.
Theater knowledge. Does that count?
Sure, I'd say you roll theater knowledge, see if you've heard anything about Erica's works lately.
Okay. I guess not.
Doesn't seem to be a large enough name to be known around here.
And the one time I get to use theater lore.
Look, hey, why did you all said you needed her? Why did you need her?
Well, we've been investigating some of the areas she visited not too long ago, namely the pit.
I see she goes pale a little bit. The pit? Is she going back there?
Not as far as we know. We were just looking
You
for
guys
some
do know
information
that she's
from her.
gonna go back there.
I'm not letting that on.
Okay. I wanted to clarify, like, are you, like, lying to her?
Actually, I forget what my bluff check is.
I mean, if your diplomacy is not great, then I doubt you're.
My deception is also 0.
I can deceive.
Well,
I
I would
mean-
say, I would, I think Tarek would just say, he just wants some information from her previous time down. That's all.
Shouldn't be going. Shouldn't be going to that place. It nearly killed her the last time. I don't know what your interest is in it, but you should steer clear as well. She kind of like runs her fingers through her hair, leaves like a streak of flour there.
Does she seem like the type of person who tries to mother everyone?
I would say no.
Okay.
Just look. If that's the case, and to be honest, after our last fight, I don't know if the rift between us is going to mend that easy, but if you see her, you'll let her know that Mother is worried and that I want her to come home.
That we can do.
She kind of nods, absentmindedly kneading some dough on the counter. You know what she said did it the first time?
The devil, yes.
The Sandpoint devil. A beast like that, it's... I told her stories about when she was a kid. I figured she was hysterical. And I don't know what could drive someone to that kind of hysterics, though. Everyone give me a perception check on her. Oh my god, holy shit. The Great Gangini and Tarek, the way that she said that, she was like, oh, like, you know, that's obviously fake. What could possibly drive someone to get so hysterical they believed it was true? She's not just talking about her daughter. She feels as though she's been driven to hysterics, and recently. Perhaps not wanting to believe something. Up to you guys if you press her on that.
Can you repeat that one, Ben?
Like, you're not 20.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying that, like, oh, the Sandpoint Devil is what my daughter said did it, basically. She's like, what could possibly lead someone to enough hysterics to think that? Like a fucking kid's story killed her friends. Her tone, the way she said it, her facial expression, she was like, what could lead her to those hysterics? She's not just talking about her daughter. She's been led to those hysterics. And recently. Like, the hysterics of seeing something like that. Or knowing something like that. Something is off here.
Tarek kind of leans. I'm guessing he kind of towers over her.
Yeah, for sure. She's not very tall.
He'll kneel down. Perhaps you can tell me. I may have some. Perhaps we can help.
So give me a diplomacy check as her eyes kind of dart back and forth between you.
I'm gonna spend channel points to reroll that one.
Okay. I think I bruised my side because it keeps hurting.
Better, but not great.
I mean, you are doing a straight dice roll.
Yeah, it's something I should probably train at some point, but it's just not my strong suit.
Gangini, do you want to help him? You could give it a try too.
Nice.
think you kind of like, peek around the side of Tarek and give like a more reassuring smile. It's nothing, but I was replacing some of the shingles on top of the store the other day, and you're gonna think I'm hysterical and I'm crazy, but there was hoof prints on the roof. Looks like they'd been scorched into it.
Tarek's head tilts at that. Hoof prints.
She kind of like nods and swallows once, twice.
These are fresh. They're recent.
They weren't up there the last time I went on the roof, but I mean that could have been any time in the last couple of weeks, almost a month maybe. But I used to tell I used to tell her that if she was bad, she'd see hoof prints on the roof and know the Sandpoint Devil was after her.
Tarek kind of thinks real quick. Well, I can't guarantee it's not her trying to get to play a prank, perhaps. But there's been some strange goings on lately. So I'd buy it if you see something strange up there. Would you like me to take a look?
If you wouldn't mind.
Tarek nods, and I'll start. I guess there's a ladder on the outside to go to the roof.
You want me to take point on this, or?
I'll go. If you want, I'd like you to come on up.
Yeah.
Both have good. I think the three of us can go on up.
You guys climb up. I mean, give me a perception check once you're up there. They've been scrubbed away a little bit. Like she tried to, wash them out of her life. And it's rained a little bit since then, but you do see footprints, hoof prints burned into the roof.
Could I make a survival check to see if I can get some information of does this look like something was actually walking around up here? Is this somebody pulling a prank? Since I'm looking at the tracks and stuff, would survival be appropriate?
Yeah, give me a survival check. Not only do these look real, like how if you lit a horse's hooves on fire, how that would look. It also looks that from the angle and the slight depression, whatever this was, landed on the roof from above, impacting it, and then pushed off to leave again.
Yeah, this was no prank.
What sort of flying, cloven-hoofed creature would do this?
Does it look like a quadruped or a biped?
Hard to tell, but you guys saw the statue of the Sandpoint Devil. It certainly had hooves.
Are these small hooves or a standard horse hoof or
size? We're talking decently sized horse.
Okay. Okay, we're not talking like a Clydesdale or some shit.
Maybe not that big.
How about Sandpoint Devil would be young dragon sized?
Could well be. Either.
Huh.
Well,
she's not crazy.
Certainly not. Though that might where I have even more. So, from where we're at, I'm not gonna go jumping. I'm not gonna go like Prince of Persia, jumping from rooftop to rooftop here. Can I see if, like, just from where I'm at, I know this is gonna be a tough check. Can I see if any of the other rooftops have any kinds of visible damage like that nearby?
Give me a perception check. You see one or two other instances of this. And you also see some sort of commotion coming from the harbor. You begin to hear screams.
I'm gonna take off running.
Alright, you guys sprint off running.
I'll
Or at least he
look over
does.
Gengi. Come on.
All right.
Can I hear them from where I am?
I would say, yeah.
I'm gonna
how far
on the
okay.
wind to Tarek and just ask, are we going to the harbor?
I'm going now. The rest of us are too.
All right. I think I'm probably the closest because I'm at the Mercantile League, right? Or at least
Yeah,
out of
you
there.
would get there first.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I guess if Sylvina knows, she can do this more discreetly than I can.
Give me 1 secundo. Gotta set things to daytime.
You know the snap.
Yeah, well, look, there's generic battle maps.
I fought a dragon here.
Wait, where are the docks?
They're just south of us.
Okay.
Because this is going to start moving into the actual sections of Sandpoint.
I fought a dragon right up here.
You guys hear a menacing, like, not quite a roar, but almost like a modulated shriek. And Solvina getting there first, you see what has swooped over some of the fishing boats into town, appearing in front of you. And I'm going to drag this onto the map. If Roll20 will let me. I'm going to make it briefly bigger so you guys can see. Not quite a dragon. Front arms being only wings. But most assuredly, some sort of draconic entity. I'm going to clear our initiative order. The rest of you guys are going to start at the top of the map there. Solvina, I'm not going to start you that close, but you're going to be a bit closer than everybody else.
Okay.
Probably like corner of this house.
All right. This is gonna hurt.
Damn, I was hoping I'd beat it.
Alright. Let's sort it out. Roland, you are first.
I'm gonna take off running, but I think this is about as far as I can get.
Yeah, I don't think the tracker is working.
Actually,
I'm realizing. Oh no, there it goes. It kicked in.
It's kind of in an odd space between the 3 tiles. Would I be in melee range of that?
Here, let me like center it so it's actually on a tile.
Okay, so then I'm just out of reach for a minute.
Yeah.
It might be better to lay back a bit further so that other people can get to it. Unless you think you would just run all the way to it.
I would. I'm the tank.
Sure.
No, totally understandable.
Alright, see you, Drake. What is it going to do here? Alright. It is going to take 2 actions. You see the blue, almost feather-like veins around its body start to spark and light up. A orb of electricity arcs over Roland. And we're going to do some measurement here. 65. It does zoom out. Alright. It is going to impact Lupin, and then have the potential to arc to Tarek and the Great Gangini. Lupin, give me a reflex save.
I'm not sure what happened. I thought I clicked my token, but I didn't see myself come up in the initiative.
Oh shit, what was your initiative? I can just add you on.
23.
Okay, so you'll go after Tarek.
Alright, so you said reflex?
Yeah, hold on, I gotta move you because my screen's fucking up. Okay, you said 23, right?
Yep.
Got it. Okay, yep, reflex save.
Alright, it's my best one.
Oh
30.
shit, that is just shy of a critical success, but is a success. So you're gonna have stuff here. That is gonna be 22. Shut up. 22 have to 11 for Lupin. And then the other 2 are arcing. It's arcing the other 2 of you, Gangini and Tarek. Both of you make reflex saves. That's a pass. That is not a pass.
Not a pass.
That is also not a pass. It's 21.
Great.
All right. The Great Gangini is going to take 22. Tarek takes 11. With its final action, it is going to whip its tail forward. The tail does have 10-foot reach at Nolan.
Nolan.
I don't know why I said Nolan. Roland. 18?
No.
Okay. You duck under this, like, bladed barbed tail as it sighs over you. Alright. That is gonna be the end of its turn. Tarek.
Alright, I'm just... Honestly, most of my spells are out of range. There's things that I want to be able to do for this one.
Got 3 actions.
I'll look over. Yep, I'll look over at Gangini. You both all right for the moment?
I'll live.
I'll be right back. And I'm just doing a full dash of moving 90 feet towards it.
Hell yeah. You take off running down the street. Civilians running in every direction to flee this thing.
Do you pick up Fleet?
Huh?
I was just asking if you picked up Fleet.
No. I'm just using all 3 actions to run. Oh, right, 25 feet. Duh.
Oh, yeah, I think you're 25.
Yeah, Pathfinder 2E has to be unique and make it 25 base.
Hate it. It's so weird.
It's like every other system is 30 feet, but
I feel like they were going for it because it's an easy multiple of 5. Like, that is the multiple of 5.
yeah.
30 feet is also a multiple
It
of
is,
5.
but it's not the
It's also
multiple
true.
of 5.
All right.
It's
that's
not
my-
5 squared. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
it's not iconic.
an unexciting turn, but necessary for me to do what I need to do.
All right, Lupin.
Alright, I'll go ahead and run forward some. 5. there. Let's see. You know what, I'll go ahead and second action. I'll go ahead and try it again.
All right.
A little bit closer, and then, all right, Lupin will reach into and final action. I'll draw the Monarch and say like, all right, let's see if I can get some use out of this thing, and then that'll be all for me.
All right. Solvina,
All right, I'm
the
not,
closest of the lot coming in from the
White.
Mercantile League.
Yeah, I'm not quite in range to do what I would want to do, but that's fine. I'm gonna start with channel elements, declaring the 4 of them as the safe targets.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am going to send a 2-element fire elemental blast at this, which gets the junction now that I have it. So it deals d8s if it hits.
Sure. Oh, fuck! A crit!
So I should roll 2 more, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think it added up the crit damage.
It did not. I have had to make these all custom myself.
Okay, so add it doubles the 4 as well, so roll another 2d8 plus 4.
Okay. I will do that, but I need to make sure it's actually 2. I need to make sure it's not 3. I thought it might be 3.
And I'm gonna draw a critical hit card. Third for you guys too.
You instantly kill it. Behead it.
Was I doing 1d8 last level with my hits? I think I was.
I
or
do
1d6
not remember.
last level.
I
was
think
just
6.
1d6. Yeah, because it's the it's like an extra every. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't get my 3. One sec.
Let me know once you're ready. I have my critical card in front of me.
Okay, elemental blast should be. So it starts off at 1d6, but I get the damage step up because of fire junction, and then it increases by 1 die every 4 levels, and I get it at level 1, so it increases by 1 die at
Level
5th
5.
level,
Yeah.
which is where we're at. So it should be okay. That's correct. So another 2d8 plus
4.
4.
Okay, first part is 18.
2d8 plus 15.
Alright.
So that's 32.
Its scales seem to burn. A few of them like molt off. Let's see. Okay, I can do that. Can do that now. Okay. Cool. That does indeed happen. Great Gangini.
Does
Or do you-
anything happen from the crit tech?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to read my crit card. Give me a perception check on it. You see some of the scales that got burned off of. You think you've like reduced some of its armor.
Nice. Okay.
As your spell was so impactful, it kind of like stripped away some of the monster's defenses.
Cool.
Great Gangini.
All right, we are just in range to do.
Also, Lupin, I don't know if it affects you, but you're in the kinetic aura, which means you're also dealing with that wind affecting hair.
So you're just seeing that it's blowing his hair and his fur.
Yeah.
The crowd that's like outside of that very specific zone is like, why is both of those people have just like crazy storm tossed hair?
And there's just like motes of fire around.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
see
picturing-
some of the panicking people like briefly slow down at just like what's happening on that side of the street? Like we're running, but also what?
I'm just picturing Marilyn Monroe.
Big Maryland vibes. All right, Gangini at the top of the street.
Lena's hair and coat always look like that when the kinetic aura is up, and that is why she wears pants and not a dress. That's not really why she wears pants and not a dress.
It's a really
but it works
funny
out that
reason, to
way.
be fair.
She just doesn't want to give everyone a free show.
The real reason is style choice, but
There's practical benefits.
yes, there are practical benefits too.
All right. What is our magician of magicians doing?
All right, I'm doing Force Barrage heightened to level 3. To
Oh,
double
fuck.
the number of pistols.
Cards sailing down the street, like kind of curving past all of you. It was a wild spread. But still, honestly, it's a lot of damage that can't be avoided. This thing looks a little bloody now. Roland.
Gonna stride around it.
Okay.
And then
Kind of
just,
like flapping in place, watching you.
Gonna hero point reroll that.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Ooh, that will crit. It is still alive, but barely. This thing had a lot of health to chew through. It is almost in the red now. Let's see. You
Hopefully it
had
comes from these to you guys.
You had a bladed weapon. Okay, it has to make a fortitude save or be stunned.
Started
That-
dig.
Is that from Sylvina's crit or is that just...
That's from you.
That's from your crit.
Not your crit.
Oh, okay.
'Cause you
My
ex-
crit
'cause you
reduced
exceeded by
its
10.
AC,
Yeah.
I think.
The
right?
AC, crazily enough, yeah, that like I feel like that's stacked together to make you have a crit because AC got reduced by the previous crit. It does pass the save though.
No.
All right.
Did we know what Sylvina's crit did?
Yeah,
reduced
it
its armor
stripped
class.
away the scales, lowering its armor class,
Oh, okay.
which like led to you being more easily able to like exceed by 10. All right. Where is it? It is going to. It got extremely lucky and only rolled a 1, so it recharges its breath right away.
Okay.
How far can they arc? Within 30 feet. Alright, it's going to target Solvina,
Oh,
and
I
then it'll
take my
arc
damage from earlier.
to Lupin and arc to Tarek. Yeah, Tarek, you took 11 earlier.
My bad.
Does that having trouble understanding the fighter like reaction thing?
The breath weapon is not, it wouldn't be a trigger for your op attack.
Yeah, it's not a manipulate action.
Yeah, it's not a manipulate action. It's like
Wait,
a special power.
Is this a ranged attack?
I don't think breath attacks count as ranged attacks.
Yeah, they're like a supernatural
They're,
ability.
yeah,
aren't they?
they're a supernatural like attack, basically, or supernatural ability.
Fair.
Hold on, let's see, 9, and then 3 more. Okay, I'm gonna need a reflex save from Solvina and then from Lupin and Tarek. Okay, and Tarek?
Oh, let's go get the wrong. Well, all right.
Alright, Tarek crits saves and just like dives behind a nearby food cart, takes nothing. Solvina, you're gonna take full. Lupin, you're gonna take half. Solvina, you take 30 electricity damage. And then Lupin takes 15. And then it is going to whip its jaws around and try to take a bite at Roland. Okay. The bite is 29.
That hits.
What's your AC?
23.
Okay, so it's not a crit. That's what I was trying to figure out. All right. It's gonna be 25 piercing damage. And as the teeth sink into you, the salt water that the sea drake is like carried in from the sea, it's in its blood, it's in its saliva. Give me a fortitude save as that salt begins to like sting in your wound. Alright, that is a failure. You are currently sickened 2 from the briny wound. Which you should be able to tick off on your sheet.
What does second do again?
The main thing that's gonna matter for you is it's gonna be -2 to attack, basically.
Oh, fuck this guy.
It almost feels like you're seasick currently. And then does this apply to attacks? Oh, it can. Okay. It's using its Draconic Frenzy ability, and it's also going to attack with its tail as part of that attack action. But it is at an iterative attack penalty. 22 does not hit. Barely.
Yeah.
Tarek.
I'm checking one last thing here real quick.
Oh, you know what? Actually, hold on. Let me read this. Okay, so that's once per day. Once per day, it's going to use its Speed Surge ability. This will trigger your op attack, Roland, but it is going to fly 60 feet straight up.
I'm going to hero point roll that.
Okay. Is this already with Sicken checked on your sheet, by the way, or should we also subtract 2?
I already checked off second
Okay.
too.
Cool, then it should be rolling it already.
Sake.
Oh my god,
Oh,
the
geez.
exact same. All right.
Ow.
So now it is 60 feet in the air, hovering above everyone. Although it is looking pretty fucked up. It's like dripping this like bluish, salty blood.
Well, that completely hosts my turn.
Let's see here. But yeah, because the spell I was going to use has a range of 30 feet. I'm guessing this thing's probably immune to electricity. Yeah, that kind of messed me up. I guess for lack of anything else to do, I'll have to do this at a penalty.
Sure, what is it?
Sorry, I'm dealing with this god-awful character sheet.
You're good.
I think, honestly, Tarek is just gonna let out a kind of a sigh, grab one of the javelins from his back, and just give it a throw.
Hell yeah.
Alright, this is gonna be a million penalties, because javelins don't have great range, but...
That will hit. Not enough to kill him,
One,
but
one on the dice,
does hit
of
him.
course.
Um,
But I would have had to draw and then throw, right?
yeah. Also, I'm realizing Sylvina used a magical blast and Gangini used magic missile. Basically, both of you guys.
I
give
did
me
not use magic.
Yeah, but it's magical enough for Halloween.
Kinetic blasts are explicitly not magical.
For Halloween, it's all energy blast, baby.
Okay. Very well.
I mean, mine was magical. What am I doing?
Both of you guys
having a
just
wild
give me a
magic
D100 roll.
Oh. All right.
That's a lot of sevens.
It's a lot of sevens. Okay, so first of all, Gangini, simultaneously as your missiles impact the dragon, next to you, a beautifully etched wooden lute appears next to you, and also a lute appears next to the sea drake as well, and it just fully ignores it. Just summons matching instruments to the pair of you.
Okay.
That's
That's wild magic.
Well, are these ours to keep, or?
I mean,
Yes.
they're real. It's two nice loots. And then hold on, I gotta read the effect of this spell. One sec.
That does not sound good.
It's not, honestly. It might be a boon in this scenario.
Okay.
You guys see the. I don't think the energy around you changes at all because it's like still a radius from your body, Sylvina. But you guys see Sylvina kind of shrink in on herself. You are now tiny sized.
Permanently?
What?
Oh dear. Permanently?
Not permanently.
Okay.
But I'm gonna shrink it. Tiny is about that big. Wait, let me do it. All right, Tarek, continue. You had one more action.
Yeah, I would be in action to draw another javelin. So
Yeah.
But then I can't throw it. So.
But you can be ready to throw next time.
Yeah, he'll just grab another one.
All right. Lupin, badly singed and like with the electrical effect of all of your fucking animal hair, is standing like straight on it, just fully puffed out.
He's stuck his tongue in electrical socket.
Yeah, for real.
Alright, that's first action stride. 4, 5. Alright, second action stride again.
Ben, you completely hosed me on that action because I was getting ready to do a reach.
I think you're.
Touch it.
It's. I assume you're trying to go
Up in the air.
straight under it, right?
Yeah, because you say it was up in the air. So
Yeah,
I'll
it's like
just
60 feet straight.
run forward, get under him, and then since I've got it out, I will go ahead and you see him doing, like, if you've ever seen like the Olympic shot put, that's what he's doing. He's basically just takes it here, sort of like does a few circular moves, and then throw it up towards them.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to hear a
Oh
point.
my
That's,
god. Oh!
that's more like it.
Alright, I didn't think we'd get so many crit cards in one battle. Holy shit. Wow.
What did Roll20 do to its dice roller? We have been all up and down all over the place.
Alright, this is a bladed. That's really bad for this. Okay. They all have like taglines, by the way, like it's an action movie. This one is "and stay down." So it takes that full crit damage, which means it is barely alive. We're talking like single fucking digits right now, low single digits. It now has to make a con save, or it's gonna freeze up and fall out of the air and take falling damage. Okay, what the fuck does it need? Okay, you need to make DC 17. It's a nat 1. God damn it. It's the first nat 1 I've rolled all session. Just for that. Alright. Fuck me. What is that? It's a D6 per 10 feet. So it's 66.
It is absolutely smushed.
8.
That being said, Lupin is straight underneath it. Lupin,
By your own
give me,
It's okay.
give me a
reflex is my
reflex
best
save. Give me a reflex save. The Drake's gonna take 22 falling damage. Lupin just like fully dives into that tree next to him, into the bushes, as the cedar just wham! Impacts the ground so hard it cracks the cobblestones, but that thing is dead. Crit cards are dangerous, but man, are they fucking silly. I love it.
3 crits.
I can't believe I was like, oh, we're gonna get a chance to use the crit cards. So we're having a fight, and all of you kept fucking critting. Holy shit. Okay.
So it's like as it falls, and Lupin just effortlessly like hops back into the bush. He just whistles, and then you see the monarch just appears back in his hand.
To be fair, dope as fuck.
I like this thing.
Love a good returning weapon.
Sickened goes away, right?
Unless otherwise specified, yeah. It goes away from this. Let me see.
Well, usually a minute, right?
Yeah, it goes away in like a minute right here.
Can I try to make a con? Can I make con saves to try and get rid of it earlier?
Let me see if we get another one. I think it's just one save at the beginning.
How long am I gonna be tiny?
Probably a minute.
Permanent.
I'm investigating. Hold on.
What's everybody?
Right as you finally settle your stomach after a minute, Solvina, it's like the least graceful magical surge. There's no like slow going back. It's like pop, and then all of a sudden you're full size again. It's extremely disorienting.
I was expecting like one limb at a time.
That would have been good too.
Is my
That was
loot
an
permanent?
experience.
The loot, both loots are permanent. The Sea Drake didn't seem interested in his, so it kind of just ended up on the ground.
I'm taking a loot.
Did it get
Lewis-
smashed when it fell?
Well, it would have happened when the magic missile happened. That's when it was still low.
Right, but I'm saying when the thing fell, did it fall?
Oh, did it fall
the...
on it? I'll roll a d20. Let's see. Let's do a straight luck roll here. Yeah, it definitely broke the other loot.
Okay.
As it impacts
Gangini
the
got
ground,
one.
you hear like wham, the like crunch of cobblestone, then like pang, tang, 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 as all those strings like snap underneath it. Okay.
Terrible motion. If everyone wants to gather around, I'll do a healing burst.
That is gonna be
Appreciate it.
140 XP for everybody.
Ooh, all right. We're up to 288.
Nice.
Potentially very risky encounter. If you guys got it.
All right. I'm just gonna burn one of my first level ones for right now.
Hell yeah.
I don't expect a second encounter, but you never know.
Well, I think we're probably gonna pause there for the night because we're like, it's getting. I'm starting to get late here.
All right, and then
feels good.
I will. All right, everybody heals 12.
Nice. As the fight wraps up, you know, this burst of healing energy start to kind of like take this time while you're healing. Maybe you guys do a couple heal checks as well.
Still injured.
Think of all the stuff that's happened this day and a half here. Knowing that you still have the town meeting coming up next time. Probably starting with that next time. There are enemies outside of town, enemies inside of town, undead below town, and seemingly the Sandpoint devil itself is on the loose. What
This
most
thing
believe
wasn't
to
the
be
Sandpoint devil.
this thing was not the Sandpoint devil. It didn't have hooves.
Ah.
A beast that most people in town think is just a myth for scaring children. You guys also learned about potentially like the amount of parts left for that bird. And that there is potential to join the Hellstorm Focus to a teleportation circle, however that might appear. You guys didn't use the crit cards much. You survived the crit cards. I greatly enjoyed our role play, and it still had a bit of spookiness throughout the night. But we will be back next week. And I'm going to stop our stream. Thank you all for watching.